Hello everyone and welcome back to my Minecraft Dinosaur World. Now this is our second ever mega episode, or essentially a giant compilation of the last couple episodes in my series. This one being episodes 11 through 20. We've done a lot over the past 10 episodes and I really hope you guys enjoy this compilation. Hello everyone and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs episode 11. As you can see, I've been quite busy building an Enderman XP farm. This thing is absolutely massive and required quite a bit of stone, but thankfully in our last episode we went ahead and got a beacon, so it was a piece of cake. It's very efficient and a huge upgrade from our spider spawner, so if you'd like to build it for yourself, I've left the link to the tutorial by Shulkercraft down in the description below, so please go check that out. And let's get into what I had planned for today. Which, if you couldn't already guess, is continuing work on our aquarium that we started in the last episode. Obviously, we left it as just this woolen outline, but today I want to really focus on getting some foundational blocks put in, like definitely the floor, and hopefully, my big hope is majority of the exterior that is above sea level. These walls, though, and this build is actually really massive, so I don't know how much we'll get done today, but my goal is to at least get this front bit done, and then hopefully some of this done over here. But these walls are huge, so I have no idea how much will get done. But let's go ahead and get straight into building this. Alright, we have made some substantial progress on this build already. I'm really liking how it's coming along. I like the little splashes of blue I was able to incorporate. And I underestimated how much this is going to take. Those are very tall walls in comparison to that one, so I did not grab enough materials. And I am running out of light gray concrete. So I need to go probably swim around to just grab some black dye and ink sacks. So that way I can craft up some more. So I think I'm going to go quickly and swim around, gather some ink, so that way we can continue building up these walls. Alright, I think I should have enough ink sacks because they double when you add them with bone meal. But just swimming through here is so cool, and I'm really excited to get, like, actual aquatic animals into this ocean and just have them swimming around. I'm so excited to like build all the viewing platforms just so I can see our mosasaur swimming through all this kelp and like hunting fish and turtles and things. I am so excited. I absolutely love aquatic creatures, especially in this mod. So I'm really excited to get back to building. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, I've made quite a bit of progress on just building up these walls and texturing, I think, the front and the right side so far. I do need to texture the left and the back, but I think I'll do that in the next, like, building segment we do. I was kind of looking at it, and obviously I need to put windows on this side. I'm not quite sure what I want to do to like break this blockiness up and like this flat surface, but I'm going to keep thinking about that. And I don't really know what I want to do for the roof. I kind of am thinking like a glass dome of some kind, but I'm still brewing on that. But what I want to turn my attention to is the inside. I want to get this opening living fossil exhibit finished today because I want to have some creatures actually going in, and I want to start developing like enclosures in this. And I think I can get away with doing that just because I want the roof of this room to just be that blue line that you see right here. So I'm gonna gather up a little bit more materials because I kind of only have the stuff for the exterior. So I'm gonna gather up a little bit more materials for like actually building these exhibits, and then we'll get back into actually placing down some blocks, and like I might just do some first person building on some of these, but I want to get the general stuff put in first. All right, so I've made quite substantial progress on the interior here with the ceiling and this floor. I went ahead and put the floor in the tide pool area as well. Now that's all really left for this room is to start really decorating and putting in those last couple details. But the big thing is just getting these exhibits all put in. But I want to, before we start actually constructing those, I want to go quickly venture out and grab 2 to 3 of each of the living fossil creatures. Alright, so I have plenty of resources to get working on all of our exhibits. I'm going to start over in this corner for our alligator gars, and I think I'm going to do a trim along here that'll frame our glass really nicely. And I think I'll do polished deep slate around the glass so that way it's very nice and like framed in. The glass doesn't just go up against the walls. I was very intentional when I was planning out this build to make it large enough so that I could double layer the walls around here. So I'm going to put in the glass real quick, and then we can start working on the inside of the enclosure. I think this is a good enough, like I don't necessarily love the border that is kind of on the middle there, but I think it'll do for what we're trying to get done. And then, like I said, we made sure that this build had plenty of space so I could come in and add a different color on the inside of each of these exhibits. So I'm going to do probably lighter green up at the top here. And that way, when I put this in, we can work down into some darker green at the bottom to kind of give kind of an illusion of depth. I think it's kind of these kind of things are kind of hard to do as opposed to like the dinosaur enclosures that are all outside and stuff. Like this is all interior, so figuring out the best way to like make it feel natural in such a small space is definitely a bit of a challenge, but I think with just this kind of colored terracotta, we can kind of give that illusion of it being naturalistic. And that's kind of what zoos do anyway, is they kind of put in like these kind of natural colors to make those little enclosures feel more natural and more safe for the actual animals. So I'm going to finish up this wall along here, and I think down here will be the dark again. And then I'm going to come in with some of our ground texture and start building up the sides here to kind of give it a more rough shape instead of just this box. I kind of want this whole exhibit to feel very swamp-like, and it's kind of one of those things that I wish we were in an even more updated version of Minecraft, because I really wanted to like use some mangrove roots and mud block or something in here to kind of give it that swamp feel. But unfortunately, we are in 1.18.2, so we just don't have any of that. I've thought about maybe backporting, but there some of those mods are just a little glitchy, so I haven't really done it. Let me know if you want me to do it, but I don't think I will. It's just I've been finding workarounds that work enough for me, like using soul soil instead of mud, and then like podzol and stuff. And then I think in this one I'm also gonna try and use logs and fences to kind of give those kind of tree trunk vibes, or that's at least the inspiration. Trying to find workarounds for some of those blocks we have in newer updates. But overall, once we get this ground texture in, I will start being able to add in some of those details. Like I think we'll do one log here. And I think if we use like that, and we can use some dark oak fences to just kind of like act as branches. It's a little clunkier than the mangrove roots would be, but I think it gives off a similar effect, and I'm overall happy enough with it. And then I think all we need to do now is probably fill in the water. So I'm going to quickly speed through that. I'm kind of doing a mix of like this is my actual recording, and then also I'm trying to do it seamlessly where I'm doing what I actually recorded when I was building, and also just coming in the editing booth. So honestly, let me know how I did. And now let's add some plants. I think we'll do a couple different bone meal patches over here, and we'll grow some of them up and leave some of them shorter. I think that let's do one more up here. And then I think we can do some sea pickles for a little extra light in here. And maybe kelp here, and then I think we'll do kelp over here. Yeah, okay, I think I like that. And let's do some lily pads up at the top. This is a smaller detail that you probably won't really see from the actual like floor out there, but it is something that kind of, for me, is some details I like to add. There are a lot of details that I will probably add throughout the series that no one will ever see, but for me, they make me happy. And I think at the end of the day, that's good. So I'll do a couple more patches over here, and then I think, nope, not there. Let's put it in the corner over here. I think maybe one more over here, and I think that's good. I think all we need to do is put in our alligator gars, which I'll do right now. And then I'll seal it up. And there we go. I think I really like that. Yeah, I think that's good. All right, shifting gears, I'm going to head over to this corner, and I think this is where we're going to put the sturgeons. For these guys, I was kind of looking at images online, and all I could really find were just the images of the sturgeon, and they had like blue backgrounds, so I wasn't really sure where to go with this. I know they live in kind of like rivers, especially like in the game. So I kind of went for just a blue terracotta wall, and like I would using the same method we did on the last one. I just kind of came in adding a double thick wall with just this blue terracotta, and I wrapped this all the way around. But I couldn't figure out like how they actually like, because with all four of these creatures there's actual exhibits in the real world for them, so I had a little bit of inspiration on what to do with each of them, or like I at least knew their real world modern day environments, so I could just kind of be like, oh, okay, this is where they would be kept and how like their exhibits would look. When we get into the later exhibits, I won't have as clear of a picture on those. Like, obviously, I'll have some knowledge about, like, where they live and, like, how to theme the exhibits. And, like, I'll try and make everything look cool. But, like, for these guys, it was a little easier. But when I was looking at the images for the sturgeons, like, all I could see was just them in a blue background. So that's kind of what I guess I'm going to do. I kind of want it to be kind of stony almost. So it's like it's a river running through some rocks. So that's kind of what you see me putting in now, is I'm going to add kind of, I started off with a cliff face, and then I was like, I don't really like that. So I switched it out for just like a big rock. So you'll see me do that in a second. But overall, I'm really starting, like, I haven't really done aquatic enclosures before. Like, I've played Fossils and Archaeology, and typically I focus on the dinosaurs because I always like put off the aquarium and the aviary because I'm like, those are special builds and they're big and I don't want to do them. But I'm glad that I've been doing YouTube and like have an actual reason to pursue doing something like this. I mean, obviously because you all wanted to see it, it's what you voted for first, but also like it's something that I genuinely wanted to tackle to see if I could actually do it. and doing it on, the channel has really like helped motivate me actually work on it. So that way I can make a video and show it to you guys. But overall, if you like this build and you want to see more, please leave me suggestions down in the comments for like build ideas you want to see, and I will definitely check out some of them and see if I can incorporate some of them. I have a couple of different things planned, like I'm thinking like tar pits and like a fossil mine and like all these different things of just cool little builds that I want to put in. I have like a couple of concepts for the aviary that are like I'm brewing on that I'm really excited for after we finish the aquarium. And obviously I've been thinking about a bunch of different dinosaur designs and like how I want some of them to be deserty themed, how I want some of them to be swamp themed, and like how I want to fit more into what we've already got going on in the rest of the park. But overall, I'm really excited to keep working on the aquarium over the next couple of episodes and then eventually move on to those other projects in the future. But refocusing on the actual surgeon exhibit we're building right now, you can see me kind of coming in with some ground texture. I think I did a unique ground for each of the 3 exhibits, like in the in the 4 exhibits. For this one, I decided to do just kind of a gravel and rocky kind of ground, and like this one is really meant to feel really rocky. I wanted each of them to feel distinctly unique. Like for the alligator gar, I went with a more swamp feel. For this one, I'm doing a very rocky exhibit. For the coelacanth, I'm thinking a very like cave-like exhibit, because in the fossil and archaeology mod, you can only really find them in like the aqueducts. And then for the nautilus, I kind of am thinking like a coral reef type thing. But overall, this one is meant to be very like river-like, very stony, a little bit like I couldn't really find like the right color to put in some mud. There was another instance where I really wished I had like the mud blocks from later versions, but I did put in a little pod sole just to kind of give it that muddy feeling of a river. And overall, I am pretty happy with how this exhibit came out. I think it does suit our sturgeons well, because they're very gray fish in this mod, so I felt like they could kind of blend in with the rocks, and I thought that was a kind of cool way to have their exhibit. So as you can see me now, I kind of am now ready to fill up the whole exhibit with some water, and then struggle to get out of this little gap until I realize I guess I had some more buckets. But yeah, as soon as I get this all in, we can start working on putting in some plants. And I will say, I didn't say this when we were making the alligator gar, I'm really appreciating the fact that we have like actual plants, because back in the old version of the mod, it was the old Minecraft water, and if you played those versions of the game, you know it was terrible. It was always terrible working in those kind of places. But having the seagrass and the kelp and like sea pickles, it provides so much more life, and swimming around in them is so much easier post like update aquatic. And I think that's one of the big reasons I never really did aquariums back in the day, is just because they were a lot of work and they were also just really difficult to do. So I'm really thankful they finally updated the mod. This is another reason I'm really thankful they did. Just being able to do all this is a lot nicer now. And like having all of these cool different plant variations that are like Minecraft feeling are very nice. But I think we're ready to put in our surgeon and then seal up this tank. And I think that'll do it for the surgeon exhibit. With both of these put in, I do want to finish off our living fossil exhibit, but we're kind of running out of time. So I'm going to time lapse and speed through building these two, and then I'll just bring you in after they're already done. And here it is. I think today we have made a tremendous amount of progress on this project. I'm really liking the exterior. It's coming along. I think there's a few like this side over here and the blankness needs to be filled, but I think over the next couple episodes we will be able to add some interest and stuff to this exterior. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I was kind of struggling with the roof design, but I think once I get a couple more details like put in, like I'm thinking like daylight sensors and like machine bits to kind of like add some interest onto the roof. But I think once we get those in, that'll really start coming along. And I'm starting to be able to add some details into the interior. And now that we have all 4 of these enclosures actually put in, this whole front entrance exhibit feels very, very nice. I'm really liking each of the 4 living fossil exhibits. I think they're very unique in their own individual way. So I'm really liking doing these, and I'm really excited to start working on our tide pools and eventually even our big lagoon. But for now, that's all I have time for. If you want to see this project and other dinosaur-related projects in the future, please consider subscribing and stay tuned into the series, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs episode 12. As you can see behind me, I've been kind of busy between episodes. It's been about 10 episodes since we actually worked on our mountain range, and I thought, it was time to revisit and give it a little bit of love. And I think, even though this isn't going to be any, kind of exhibit or anything in this area right now, it's a very nice backdrop for our whole park, walking through this path and then being able to see that through the trees, I think will be so pretty, and I think it's going to create a very good baseline for us to work on. And before we get into what I actually have planned for today, I have to introduce you to my good boy Dennis. If you've not seen the Minecraft movie, I decided to name my dog that I got while I was clearing out the forest Dennis because, references and all that. But what I actually need to get into is dinosaurs. I want to create another enclosure, and my brain is kind of gravitating towards a Triceratops. But I only have 1 DNA, so I'm thinking that we're going to do a quick mining segment, and hopefully I can get plenty of fossils for us to analyze. Okay, I don't think I could have picked a more ominous looking cave than this one, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to just record this whole journey, and I'm going to cut out the parts that are slow or dragging a little bit, but I want to try different ways of showcasing what I do on this world. And I think that actually having a segment where I just flat out talk and provide commentary for a whole bit and try my best to be entertaining is really good practice for some of the segments I do. I think when I record typically, I just kind of I don't script it, but I'm very particular with what I say, and I take like multiple takes to like actually say what I want to say and put out what I want to put out. Where did I just get shot from? But like I feel like sometimes just being more human, I guess, is probably better. Like, I don't know if you've been able to tell through like my world, but I'm kind of a perfectionist. At least like I'm a perfectionist to my standard of good. So like when I'm making the videos, I will take like 3 takes of every little clip just to get it right. I will like restart. I'll like be like, "Oh, I said in that clip. Oh, I hate that." Or, "Oh my goodness, the dinosaur didn't look just right when I was recording." And like I'll do that over and over again, and that'll just kind of get kind of, that gets repetitive, or like it puts a lot of pressure to like get things right. And then sometimes like I just like stop recording because I'm like, I need a break. I can't be perfect all the time, but I want to be perfect all the time because I want to make good videos and I want you guys to watch my videos and I want them to be cool videos so that way you keep watching them. But I've actually been watching some old like Minecraft dinosaurs content that I used to watch like when I was younger, and a lot of them don't actually like have cuts in their videos. They're just going straight through talking and stuff, and I was like, huh, maybe I should try that at least a little bit. Like I still like doing kind of the very like I like having the cinematic shots of all the builds and like kind of talking over it, or just like I guess not talking like with the gameplay. Because also another thing, I cannot build and talk at the same time. I have tried a couple of times. I cannot. I can't do it. My brain like shuts off when I start building because I'm like locked in on actually like putting together the build and making it look nice. It takes 100% of my brain. So me speaking is like none of that. And like I typically like I love being in like calls with friends and playing Minecraft, but like when I'm building, they all know I go quiet because I'm locked in on building whatever it is. But this is a really cool cave because it's dripstone and lush cave, so hopefully we get lucky with our fossils. I need to try and stick to more of the stone area because that's where the fossils for Triceratops are going to be. Because if we go down to Deep Slate, that is where like we get shale fossils and stuff. If there's anything I have to complain about in the newer versions of the mod, it is just that like most of the mining, I feel like you go down all the way you can, or like most of the caves like take you all the way down to like this Deep Slate level. But when you get down there, you can't get any of just the regular dinosaur fossils because you're now getting like all the green DNAs from the shale fossil. And I don't know. I feel like if there was a way that you could make it so even the Deep Slate fossils will give you just regular fossils, I feel like that would be better. Especially because there's much less that you get from the shale fossils. Like, or like, they give you a bunch of stuff, but there's a lot less than what the dinosaurs give you. So I feel like there should be like some exchange, but that's just me. Maybe there's a way I can change that. Something I don't think about a lot, but like this is something that when I used to play dinos just didn't exist. Caves like this were not a thing. And I've been thinking about it a lot recently, like the old version of the mod that I used to play. Like I remember why I quit playing, and it was mostly just because it was so dated. Like the Minecraft version that the old mod was in was just before like the aquatic update, before the Nether update, all the villager stuff. So like it was really hard for me to get things done because I also was like that's when I was kind of growing up and getting good at the game. Like obviously I played with dinos when I was a kid, my dad helped me install it on my computer. So like I had been playing it. Was I good at the game? Oh no. I was so bad. Like I would never get diamond armor. I was too scared to go mining because I would die all of the time. And like I just remember like after like the aquatic update came out, that's when I actually got good at this game, like being able to like play this game and not die every 5 seconds, even though I die consistently. I'm not great at the game. I am nowhere near pro, but better. I'm definitely a better builder, and I know how to do things that'll make my life easier, like iron farms. I know how to actually like put some of those things together, or like what I should be searching for to make my life easier. So like playing now as opposed to when I was a kid is just so different because obviously like it's now in the newer version. So like there's tons of new features, like there's these lush caves or the dripstone caves we were in earlier, or just the caves of this size in general. So it's like it's offering a whole new like way to play this mod. That's just really cool. Oh, that's cool. 2 amethyst geodes. Looking at these amethyst geodes, it's kind of giving me an idea. Like I've kind of been brewing on this a little bit as like for a while. Like obviously we've got the aquarium project, and I want to build an aviary. Obviously, those are the two like big ones that you're gonna find in probably every single dinosaur series that anyone ever puts out. Just because like there's big marine reptiles and there's big flying reptiles, but there's a couple other like build ideas I've been brewing in the back of my mind. One is actually like a fossil mine, kind of like in the opening of Jurassic Park, like where Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler are like digging, like doing their dig, and then there's also like that amber mine that they have a little segment of. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but it's like the lawyer like pulls up and is like, talking about Hammond and all this, and then they like go through the fossil mine or like the amber mine, and they find a chunk of amber. Um, that's kind of like something I want to build, like some kind of mine. I was kind of thinking like past our storage building, just like this really cool, like elaborate mine of just like amber and stuff. Like I've been kind of building up my reserves of like amber ore and stuff. So I think it would be kind of a cool concept to like incorporate into the park. Like even stuff like Yellowstone, like they have histories of like, having mining operations during like before they were established as national parks, like having those kinds of things. So I think it would be kind of cool if we like built something like that. And like going down that track of like other big builds I want to get done, I've kind of been thinking about like, I don't know, a bug house or something like that, because the Meganeer and the Arthroplura don't really fit into any like specific thing. And then also like Dimetrodon and Edaphosaurus are obviously like synapsids, so they're not really dinosaurs. So I was thinking like something along the lines of like a bug house or like a reptile house for them. Uh I don't really know. I'm still brewing on like all that. I might just put the synapsids in like the swamp area I'm planning on building for like the Spinosaurus and Dilophosaurus. But we will have to see where I end up putting them. I guess this is kind of just a me talking about plans episode, because I am actually in college. If you didn't know, I think I posted it, but I am in college during the summer for my program, so I do not actually have that much time. That's why the videos are like sporadic every like 2 weeks or so. I'm trying to like make it so I can at least get one every 2 weeks, just because I don't want to like leave this series. I'm having tons of fun actually playing this and like doing all of the builds. So I don't want to like lose steam, because it having this series actually is just like motivated me to keep building and like keep doing all the things we're doing, because like I like what back when I used to play, I know I'm bringing that up a lot, but like I would build probably 3 exhibits and then I'd be like, nah, I'm done. I've done enough, you know? And then like that would be the world. And that like kind of has always meant like I've never actually built a full park. I've never gotten every animal. I've never had an exhibit for every animal. Like obviously I could just put all the animals down, but like I've never had an exhibit for every animal. And that's something I genuinely always wanted to do or to have, is just that exhibit for every single animal in the mod. And I think if we keep doing what we're doing with this series, I think we're well on our way to get there. Because we've already gotten like 4 of the herbivores, and we're already working on one of the big projects that'll have like hundreds, not hundreds. Why did I say hundreds? We'll have like a good chunk of our animals, like the mosasaur and the megalodon, all of those. Like that's a good like fourth of the mod just right there in the aquarium. So I think if we keep doing what we're doing, I think we're on track to actually get to all the animals. And that's something that's really going to like make my heart happy if we actually get to that point. Just because I've always wanted to do it. I've never been successful just because of, I get bored of the world and then I leave it. But like having YouTube to like motivate me to put out videos and like motivate me to make exhibits has been kind of really cool. Just like a cool feeling to like motivate myself and like to do the builds. Like it keeps me accountable, and that's something that I really like about doing it. So I plan on keep doing it. I just as of right now, my life is very busy with school. I'm in really difficult classes, so if videos are like every 2 weeks, I am sorry, but I will continue hopefully making the series just because I'm having so much fun. I love this world. This is like one of my favorite worlds I've actually ever built, just because of like some of the builds we're doing. And like I love the like the forest and how it's working out. I love the mountain I built earlier. It's just all coming together in a really nice way. Here's an exit. I think that honestly, I'm going to mine these last couple fossils because we've already got a stack and almost a half. I think this will be hopefully enough to get a Triceratops DNA. If it's not, I'll just do more real quick between shots and grab, you know, plenty more fossils until I eventually do. Hopefully it won't take me tons and tons and tons of time, but Triceratops should be pretty common, I feel. But I say that, and we've also done tons of fossil mining throughout this series and have only gotten one. So, you know, I might be delusional, but I would think the Triceratops would be pretty abundant. But I'm going to meet you guys back at the base and break down all this fossil ore. Okay, so we have tons and tons of bones, but we do have some actual Triceratops bones. Let's see, do we have any more? I don't see any, but we'll go ahead and throw all these. I actually wanted to keep these two, and they can go in our special fossils chest. I think we can get rid of the rest of these and then see if any of these were Triceratops perchance. Ooh, Triceratops rib cage. That's probably a good chance of that. Platypelodon. I think that would be all of the Triceratops, but I am going to save this Ichthyosaur skull for our aquarium build. We do actually have a Triceratops skull, but like, come on, I can't analyze that. That's just such a cool model. I think that's all we really have. All right. I'll bring you back when this is fully done analyzing, and we'll see what kind of goodies we get. All right, I went ahead and sorted everything out of the analyzer, and we ended up getting 3 more Triceratops DNA, which should be the perfect amount for our enclosure. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the culture vat and get working on their enclosure. Alright, so I put in the rock wall and I'm about to start working on the fence. Obviously, this needs probably more shaping and more texture, but I just put down these like Triceratops skeletons, and I'm realizing the Triceratops is now so big. I've not really actually seen their new model, like, because literally this playthrough is like just me playing through. I haven't actually like dealt with the mod like since it was in 1.12, so I don't know what most of the dinosaurs look like. But they're big. They are much bigger than I thought they would be. Because like the Stegosaur is so small. Like in comparison to what it used to be, the Stegos are so small. But these guys, they're big. So this is gonna be like a really big enclosure that I didn't really think it was gonna be. So I think I'm gonna bring the fence along this way and kind of have it connect up to the edge of this forest line. I don't know if I'm gonna have it. Like, I don't know where it's going to go from there. Like, if I'm just going to bring it over to here and then close it off, which is what I might do, or if I'm, like, going to take these, this rock wall up to here. But I guess we'll just have to see what I end up doing. But I'm going to get back to building, and hopefully I'll figure something out. All right, so we have our fence put in and our rock wall kind of shaped out. Obviously, when I am about to do this texturing, I'll go through with more slabs and more blocks to really flesh out the shape and add in that texture to make it look a ton better. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the shape that this enclosure is taking. And one of my favorite details I put in the fence is I kind of put these like hole sections with like boards like filling them up, kind of like the Triceratops have been like ramming the fence and breaking them in the park as park rangers have been coming through and like adding boards to like patch up the holes and stuff. I just thought that would be a cool detail. I was very careful like to leave the bottom fences in so that way they actually can't get out, but I just thought that that was kind of a cool detail to include because like obviously Triceratops are kind of like big cows, so they're just going to keep ramming fences for, whatever reason. But yeah, without wasting too much more time, I think I'm going to get into texturing this ground and the rock wall, and then we can start putting down some vegetation after that. So we're standing in the middle of our new Triceratops enclosure, and I think with all the trees in, this is actually probably one of my more favorite enclosures. I don't know why. I just really like the height differences across the enclosure, and I like the pond being down there. I like all the I like the plants and stuff. I don't know what is different, but I really like it. I think it has something to do with the trees, like the spruce trees that we've been making. I made these ones fuller up at the top than in the some of the other exhibits. Like they're a little more like bulky at the top as opposed to like over there. So I might take that like trend and put it back over there. But let's go ahead and hatch our Triceratops. I'm going to hang on to one because I have had an idea. The mod, if you didn't know, adds in like I think it's the reverse of a chicken essence, which like chicken essence lets you grow your dinosaurs, and then there's a growth stunting one. And I wanted to know if is that like ethical to do, because I really thought it would be cool if we had 4 like adult Triceratops and then one that's like kind of like a middle grown one. So I'm going to hang on to one egg until next episode. So that way you guys can tell me down in the comments if you think I should just hatch him and let him grow all the way up, or if about halfway through when they're grown up, do I stop the growth and then we have like a constant baby Triceratops. I don't know if that's ethical, but I think it would look really like cool in this exhibit. It's just because I work so much between episodes, the dinosaurs like seem to just grow up instantly. Like, so I put in the Segos, they're all adults by the next episode. Packies were adults by the next episode. It's just, they always are adults like the episode after we got them. So I was wondering if like I should just make one a permanent like middle-aged child or something. It'd also give just some more variation with the actual dinosaurs. But yeah, overall, I'm really, really happy with this exhibit. I think it's really cool, and I think the Triceratops are going to look super amazing in here. And I'm excited now that we've got this done to, like, fill in the trees, like, in the section of the, like, park that we've worked on today. Like, and up there, I know you can't really see it through the trees, but, like, along this top path is kind of where... Actually, I can stand by here and go into Freecam, can't I? If I just go like right here, this path, I'm excited to connect it back up to the Allosaur enclosure and then start filling in all of these trees to continue our forest and eventually push our enclosures back this way. And I think over this way we can also push them back a little bit. I'm also considering like maybe as we get further that way, working into like a redwood forest almost, because I really want to put the T-Rex in like a redwood style forest. So I might get some of the, oh, here we go. I might get some of the plants and stuff sorted out, but let's see. They're almost about to hatch. So yeah, please leave me suggestions for 3 names. Actually, go ahead and leave me for 4 for this one. And let me know if you think I should leave this one as a baby or not. Aww. Look at them. These guys are adorable. I've not seen their new baby model. Hold on. Okay, we've got 1 female. 1 female. Are they all female? Female, female, and female. We've got 3 females, so please leave me 3 names down in the comments, and I'll be sure to name them in the next episode. And let me know what you think about keeping this 4th one as a like bigger than this, but like about halfway grown. So yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs episode 13. I'm standing outside of our starter house because I want to quickly go on a journey through the park, mapping out the whole thing so we can have an official park map. And here it is, our completed map of Fossil Ridge National Park, which if you actually didn't know is the name of our whole dinosaur park we've got going on. I I'm really happy with this. It's really cool to see just all of our work displayed like this. It really shows you just how much we've actually done, which is something that I don't really recognize a lot because obviously you guys see the videos, you see how much changes between episodes. I just am doing it, so I kind of forget all the things that I've actually done to reshape this world. But seeing it all like this is a really good reminder that we have done just so much. And I need to touch on a few things that I've done between episodes. As you can see, on this side of the Triceratops enclosure, I did go ahead and clear out the remaining forest, as well as extend our pathway past the Triceratops, linking back up to the pathway by the Allosaur enclosure, and I've left a couple different ways that we can go off in different directions over that way. I've also kind of laid down a little bit of planning over on this side. I know this looks a little weird, but I have decided that I'm going to remove this section of the river, which I know sounds like a little crazy, like why don't I just build a bridge? But I was trying to come up with the design that I liked, but I just couldn't really find one. And overall, I couldn't get it to work in my head. And then I was also looking at the Diplodocus enclosure, and it was taking up just so much of what I wanted to be the prehistoric plains that I was like, I'm not going to have any room for the Parasaurolophus or the Gallimimus or anything else I want to put in our plains biome. And then I realized, well, if I take out this section of river, I could expand the plains biome by like doubling it in size and even include this section down here and this section. So I think it's a really wise idea. It's going to be a lot of work, but I think we can do it. Before we move on to the main project for today's episode, I did want to showcase that in that opening montage, I came over and hatched our 4th Triceratops, which did turn out to be a male. So because I want to have an adult grown male and have that model in the park, I went ahead and used the stunt growth essence on this Triceratops over here. So she is now stuck at age 6. I believe there's a way that we can undo this, but I will look into it if we want to undo it. I didn't see any strong opposition to having a baby Triceratops, or using the stunt growth. So I think it would just add a lot of dynamicism to this whole exhibit by having one look a little bit smaller than the rest, and it will let us see all 3 of the Triceratops models. So I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be able to name them in this episode, mostly because I went to go buy name tags from our mending villager, and I think a pillager may have killed him. So I don't have any name tags at the moment. I will work between episodes on getting them, and we will name our Triceratops in the next episode. If you do have any name suggestions for them, and you still would like to turn them in, leave them down in the comments below. Moving on to the focus of today's episode, I'm back over at the aquarium, where I want to add a kind of an extension onto these 2 sides of the aquarium to kind of break the flatness and also provide just more detail. I also want to work on this exterior area, starting like the pathway out here. I'm not going to connect it up over there just yet, but I want to kind of lay the groundwork so that way this doesn't feel just so out of place with the terrain. So I'm going to work on that, this extension, and if we have enough time today, I have a design in mind for a viewing platform to be put on this back side of the aquarium that will let us look in to the ocean and see our creatures once we finally do our walkways and our cliff faces and just their whole exhibit. But without wasting too much more time, I'm going to go ahead and get to building. I am immensely happy with how all these details we just added have really helped the build come together. The extensions have really broke away from that rectangular shape and kind of let this feel more like a natural building. And then I think all of the retaining walls and the planters I put in have really helped the exterior come together. Once we like actually connect it up and fill in that river, I think this is going to be a really cool addition to the park, and I'm excited to start our terraforming to kind of bring it in even more in line and give it that more beach-like oceanic feel. I think the palm trees are a really good addition, and I'm really happy with the design I came up for them. As you can see over here, I've started cultivating some of our tide pool creatures, and they're actually almost done. So I'm going to start working my way in to our actual tide pool area and start working on this interior, so that way we can start putting those creatures in their enclosures. So I have laid the foundation for each of our tide pools, and I have kind of an idea of which animals I want to go in where. I think all three of these are going to be our trilobites, and I'm going to have two species share this enclosure back here. This is going to be our Megalograptus, and I'm having a little bit of difficulty. I've been just testing in creative, making sure that the idea I had to like put slabs just basically on these blocks to contain our trilobites works, and it does. But when it came to the Megalograptus, they kind of bounce on the top of the water, and that can let them like jump out occasionally. So I'm kind of thinking, like rethinking, and I might put just a glass wall on this side of the enclosure, and then back here I'm going to have the rock work that'll kind of just make it look more open air. But I think just to be safe to put a glass wall here, it's really a safety measure, because if just one of these things gets out, it's going to go to each of these and kill all of the animals. So I'm going to kind of work on that, and I'll kind of show you the process I have decorating each of these exhibits, and then we can finally put in our tide pool creatures. So the first thing I did was I went through and I just filled each of these enclosures with water. On the first three, I did the same level, which is just one block above our floor in the exhibit. But for the Megalograptus, I did decide to put the water level down a whole block. Again, I'm really trying to make sure that these guys cannot jump out of their enclosure, because they will just annihilate the rest of the creatures in the exhibit. So then I just added the slabs to kind of contain our creatures. I do eventually replace a couple of these with trap doors for just better visibility, but I kind of went through and added these kind of platforms that you can like walk up on and kind of get a better view into the enclosures. And then I did the same thing on the other two with just kind of decorating them up, making them look more naturalistic rock. They're meant to be kind of fake style rock. A lot of tide pools that I've visited and seen have kind of been like fake rock that like will let you walk along and like play with all the creatures. So that's kind of what I was going for, just this very like, it's meant to be fake, but I wanted it to look kind of imitation, very real. So I then added some andesite bars to kind of be a little more like secure, like don't jump in here. And then I added just a little bit more rock. And then I did turn to the Megalograptus exhibit, as you see here, and I did decide to put in that glass wall, again, just to keep them inside, but still allow just a little bit of visibility. I went with this type of glass you see here. I eventually changed it out for just clear glass, and then I tried to do slabs on top. I didn't end up liking that. I thought it was too bulky, so I went ahead and just put andesite bars again. I really like kind of just the airy texture, but also like it feels like it's containing something, which I like. And here you see me replacing the glass. I'm pretty happy with how this came out. It's not what I originally had in mind, but I think it works just good enough. I then went around to each of them and added a little bit of coral. I thought that I didn't want to add just coral into the water, just because like tide pools are meant to be kind of temporary, not really a space for coral to grow. So that was kind of my thought process. But I then came through and I textured up the ground with adding a couple of slabs. I did use the Copycats mod to add in kind of like these varying levels of slabs and like little bits to detail those rocks. I did have to remove those just because one of our creatures you'll see later in the video, it did unfortunately get out, so I went back and removed those. But I did add in seagrass and kelp to kind of finalize off that, and then I added sea pickles for just a little bit more light. So as you can see, I'm finishing that up on this exhibit and just adding in more of those rocks to kind of add detail. Unfortunately, I had to take some of those out, but you know, it is what it is. I then repeated the same process for the last two, which I'll let you watch as we finish up this time lapse, and then we'll get our creatures in. Alright, here is our tide pool exhibit, and I'm very happy with how this all came together. I think each of these looks so cool, and I think it's going to look so cool once we actually place down our creatures. So I guess let's go ahead and start over here. I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to do 4 of these guys in this one. So I'm going to click right here. Oh my gosh, they're tiny. He's so small. Okay, I'm going to get all 4 in here. Oh, they are tiny. Do they have an age indicator? I don't really know much about these. They do have, okay. Oh, they're self-feeding, so I don't, okay. That's good. Let's put these 2 in this one. There we go. They are also really small. Look at how cool. These are new to the update. I've not seen these before. These are really, really cool. I love their little models. That's adorable. Okay, and then I think I'm going to do these 3 and this one in the back, because this one's going to have the only one with 2 different species. So I'm going to do this one. Oh my gosh, he's so cool. He kind of looks like a dung beetle. That looks super cool. Okay, and then I'm going to do these ones. And oh, they are so small. I love these guys. I think it's going to look really cool when they're fully grown. I don't know if I'll name these. Again, I don't really have a villager to trade me name tags, so I'm going to work on that between episodes. We might name these guys, we might not. We'll just have to see. All right, and now for the big finale of this enclosure, we're going to do our Megalograptus, and I'm going to get by the feeders so they hopefully don't eat me. So I'm just going to place 1, 2, and 3. And they are kind of creepy to me. I've ever since they got added, I've always thought that they were a little weird, but they also are really cool. I love like weird looking things, and I think this guy's really, really cool. Again, I think this whole exhibit's gonna look really cool when they're actually fully grown, and you can actually like pretend like you're just like kind of grazing your fingers across them like in regular tide pools. I think this whole room has come together really nicely, and I'm really, really happy with it. I think we have just enough time left in today's episode to come to the back of our aquarium and finish detailing this back face, as well as adding on our viewing platform extension to this side of the build and creating a sub-level where we can work off in the next episode. So without wasting the rest of our time, I'm going to go ahead and get into the final time lapse of the video. With this being done, this marks a very substantial point in our aquarium mega build, in that the exterior is almost 100% done. With all of the windows put in, all of the details, all of the extensions that I was thinking of put in, the main building is actually finished. Not to say those buildings over there and what I want to put over there, those still need to be worked on. And obviously, I have started the walkway that's going to be going around our whole ocean, just with this little patio here. But it's going to go all the way around. It's going to connect it to some cliffs over there with some more viewing platforms. But for the main building, we're practically done with the exterior. All of the extensions are put in. All of the details I really want are put in. There's a few that I might add in, but overall the outside is completely done. Going on to the inside, we've even started putting in some of these like planters, which I think you've probably seen throughout the video. These are actually part of the Fossils and Archaeology mod. These are volutes, I believe. You just get them with crafting pottery shards and then repairing them in an archaeology workbench and then dyeing them different colors. This one, it kind of looks like a seashell, so I really like it. I did put one over in the tide pools, which is kind of looking like a Megalograptus. And actually, before we end off the video and I show you the viewing platform, I do want to come back through and look at our tide pool creatures. Most of them have grown up, like this one has grown up. One of these guys did actually get out and suffocate on land, so I did make 2 more of them, and they're over there. But these guys are fully grown up, and they are so weird looking, but also just all so cool. And like all of these guys are over here, they're looking amazing. And there are Megalograptus over here, which I am happy to say have not escaped, and my measures have worked, and they're looking really, really cool. But I think it's time I finally show you what we actually just spent that time lapse doing, which was, if you come down this stairway, it takes you to our aquarium sublevel, and this looks so cool. I am so excited for a mosasaur to be swimming in these waters, just so you can see it through the glass, see it swim, hunt the fish. It's just gonna look absolutely amazing. I'm so excited. This took a really long time just because it was mostly filled with water, but I managed to get some sponges that I just had from when I fought a sea monument and just drained it all. I did put some pixel art, which if you couldn't tell, this is just the DNA texture, but with terracotta colored in. I really like both of these. I think it looks really cool. I have some of our fossils that we've been collecting throughout the series just on display here. I've got a nautilus shell, and then I did go ahead and craft a skull helmet and put it on a little armor stand display in here, and I think that looks really cool. But yeah, for this being just the Mosasaur viewing event, I'm really excited to get the Mosasaur. I know it's still a couple episodes away just because the ocean's going to be a lot of work. It's a really expansive and big project, but I'm so excited. And if you're excited for next episode, I think we're going to work on this area here, which we're going to expand and dig out this way, and it's going to house our ichthyosaurs, our plesiosaur, our leopleurodon, and I think the aquiolamna is how you say that. This is also just going to be where we're going to have some like open spaces to expand on the underside, just when new creatures get added. But yeah, I think we made tons and tons of progress. The whole build has really started to come together. I really love it. It's all the exhibits are really starting to give this build just so much life. It's looking good from almost every angle on the outside. And yeah, this is a build I'm really proud of. So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys would like to see the rest of the series, make sure you subscribe so you get the latest videos when I continue working on this. And yeah, I hope to see you all in the next one. See ya! Hello everyone and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs episode 14. As you can see, I've been kind of busy between episodes, and from that opening, I've just kind of been digging. Our Mosasaurus viewing vent that we built in our last episode is right through there, and this is going to be the sub-level, and this is going to house majority of our aquatic creatures. When I was planning out the aquarium, obviously we have the big build up there, but that only really has space for 2 exhibits, and then I'm thinking a museum up on the top floor where all the domes are. But this is like there wasn't enough room to build all the like exhibits in there. And then when I was looking at this cove, I was like, there's enough space for the mosasaur, and like there's enough space for everything, but it would be really complicated and a weird like area to divide up amongst them. So I decided it might be better to just put some of them underground. So I'm thinking we're going to put our plesiosaurs, our ichthyosaurs, our leopleurodon, and our aquiolamna in this great hall. And then I've left these 2 doors open just because I was scrolling through the Discord for the mod, and there are tons of previews for future updates that just include aquatic creatures. Like I didn't count how many species, but it was at least like 7, I think. And those will all require their own spaces. So I was thinking it might be better to just do these ones underground, especially because we can add tanks to have like artificial light and stuff, and that's not too much of a problem. So I think that this will be the best way to kind of future-proof this build by having just different ways that we can expand out and leave these open for future expansions and just have all of the tanks in here today. So what I'm planning on for today is actually getting all of these creatures in. This will be a very heavy like aquarium focused episode, but I think that's okay. So yeah, as you can see, I've already dug out and done the ceiling, the floor, and lined out all of these exhibits. What I'm now going to go ahead and do is dig out the rest of these exhibits, and then I'll bring you back when we start actually detailing what I want to put in them. But before we actually get into that, I need to come back over to our Triceratops enclosure and do something we didn't do in our last episode, which is actually name all of our Triceratops. So as you can see, our first generation has actually fully grown, so they're looking really big, and I love their textures. They are so cool. But I'm going to name this one Laura, and then I'm going to name this one Ellie after Ellie Sattler from the original Jurassic Park. And then this one, our growth stunted baby, is actually going to be named Sarah, from The Land Before Time. This was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and I thought it was just really fitting if we named our baby Sarah, just like in the movie. So, yep, that one's my name suggestion, and I hope you guys are okay with that. But our male Triceratops is actually going to be named Ramsey here, and I think that'll do it for all 4 of these guys. Again, thank you guys so much for the suggestions. It always makes me so happy to see community engagement. I will put the people who suggested all these names right on screen now. And yeah, again, just if you have any suggestions, stick around for the series. There are going to be tons and tons of animals that we're going to get into the park that you will have the opportunity to name. So if I didn't pick yours this time, I just might pick it next time. So stay tuned for more animals, more creatures, and all that. But without wasting too much more of our time over here, I'm going to head back over to the aquarium and get working on those exhibits. This exhibit is nearly done. I'm really happy with the main structure we've put in. Obviously, I've got the floor in, I've got the back wall in, and they're both textured up. For the back wall, I kind of did cyan concrete, working my way up to light blue concrete, and I blended it very nicely with light blue wool, cyan wool, and these scaled variants. And then on the ground, I've kind of done 3 different kinds of sand. I've got regular sand and sandstone kind of in this brighter area. I've used desert sand to kind of like blend it into these darker areas. And I've used gray sand and wet sand to kind of create these darker patches where I think is going to be our like kelp forest in this exhibit. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the big like components of this, and I'm excited to actually put in the glass wall and fill it with water. But I have run out of sea lanterns. I only started this project with 11 because I've used them throughout our aquarium, so I'm finally out. And I was considering just going out and, raiding drowned monuments and ocean monuments to just get more. However, I know that I'm just going to need way more than I can do that, and I don't want to keep doing that over and over again. And I think it might just be beneficial to actually have a reusable source of sea lanterns for future builds and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and gather the materials for a prismarine farm, and I'll bring you guys back in when we get ready to start building it. I've gone ahead and gathered the materials we're going to need for our prismarine farm, and I've traveled on the roof of the Nether and placed a portal, and it's kind of put us out directly on top of the ocean monument, so I might have to move this portal. But I'm going to go ahead and start building this prismarine farm, and I'll bring you guys back when it's done. Alright, our Guardian farm is now fully constructed and fully operational, but before we actually move back over to the aquarium, there's a few things I thought I'd bring you guys back and just talk about real quick. Firstly, if you would like to build this farm for yourself, I have left the link to the tutorial by Shulkercraft down in the description of this video, and I highly recommend you go check it out because I was only AFK for about 45 minutes and I have all of these materials, and there's still more in all of these chests. This is just a super efficient farm. It works super well. Just all of these materials, we will be set for quite a while. Another unintended consequence of the farm is because we have the fossils and archaeology mod installed and nautiluses just kind of spawn in the oceans. The farm actually farms nautiluses, so we'll actually have plenty of nautilus meat. And I actually got a few magic conches, which I believe is the order thing for like the marine creatures. So these are pretty useful to get. And just the last thing I have here is this is copper diving equipment. This is from the Create mod. I actually used this in the last video and I just didn't mention it. And I thought it wasn't right to just not mention it. This is what I've been using to kind of work underwater because it lets me breathe underwater for about 15 minutes without needing to recharge. And this is just super nice to actually have. And it lets me work so much better. So I'm actually going to move back over to the aquarium and finish up those exhibits. And I'll bring you guys back when we're ready to put in some creatures. This exhibit is now fully done, and I think it's really worked. I think all the pieces have kind of combined to create exactly what I was going for, which is this is meant to feel like kind of an open ocean exhibit. So like not like coral reef or not like anything like that. It's meant to just feel like a part of a random point in the ocean. And this, I think, accomplishes that. Both ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs lived kind of throughout all environments in the ocean. But I tried to look up a couple things, and they didn't really live in coral reefs, which is a majority of the plants we have in Minecraft. So instead, I kind of just went for this like open region with like kelp forests on either side. And I think that's really gone together, especially with the wall backdrop to kind of create that like there's more to the ocean beyond. But I think this is really, really good. So I think I'm just going to mirror it over there. And there it is, looking really, really good, in my opinion. It is very similar to this one over here, but that's kind of by design. The ichthyosaurs and the plesiosaurs, at least from what I found online, lived in pretty similar habitats. So I kind of went with the same thing for both of their exhibits. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I will say it's just the same process that we did, cyan concrete working up to light blue, and then sand on the bottom with darker sand kind of in the kelp regions, and then just a little bit of a different foliage layout. But overall, pretty good, pretty good. There is walkways on both of them. I don't know if I pointed that out. They connect up to these doors, or will connect up to these doors. I haven't actually done the connection. There's a little bit of stairs to kind of outline that. I'm going to work on that once we get this exhibit put in and this exhibit put in, just so I know kind of where everything needs to be, how I can get into everything. But overall, I'm pretty happy with these two. I'm going to wait to put the creatures in until we get these two exhibits done. So without wasting, more time, I'm going to go ahead and start working on both of these, and then we can start putting in some creatures. And here it is. This whole area is looking really, really complete now. There's a couple more details I think I might add just in between episodes, but as you can see, I kind of went through and put down some carpet on the floor to add a little bit of color. I need to texture up the roof a little bit more. I've done a little bit, but I think there's just a little bit more I can do to make this have a little bit more interest. But obviously, I've put in all the lights, I've put in all the lanterns, I've got all the pots and all the doorways all put in. Everything is looking really, really nice. And here, both of the exhibits we just worked on are looking absolutely amazing. For these ones, I kind of wanted this whole room to feel like this was the side of, like, this was the coastline, and then this is, like, the open ocean. So there's, like, cliffs here, and then it works its way to open ocean on this side. So this whole Leopleurodon exhibit, I was kind of inspired by shark tanks I kind of see at zoos, and they have a lot of, like, rock work and stuff that the sharks can go and swim around. And that was kind of like my inspiration for putting this arch in here, and then this little jut out bit and this cave to kind of give the Leopleurodons a couple of different areas where they can kind of tuck away like they're stalking their prey, even though there's going to be no prey in here. I just wanted to give them a couple of different options for places that they could go to kind of like hide out and just be out of sight. And I thought that was really cool. For the Archaeology exhibit, I did kind of do this like center arch, so because I think it'll be kind of cool to see them all swimming around, and it'll kind of give you a reason to like walk around to get different views and angles of this same exhibit. But yeah, I have all of the sacks here. I think we're gonna start off with our ichthyosaurs. I did put in these staff entrances, or like the staff ways. I put a little sign for staff door only. And I kind of decorated them kind of like back rooms almost. I know, back rooms. I should get tons of views for just saying that word. But I kind of wanted them to feel very industrial. I looked up a couple of different like industrial kind of like walkways. I'm kind of basing these also off of Jurassic Park a little bit. Like if you remember that scene when Ellie Sattler's running through the utility shed, looking at like running past all these pipes and things. I kind of wanted that kind of vibe where there's pipes everywhere. There's different like things, there's toolboxes, there's crates, there's all these little details that kind of make it feel very like staff area, but it gives us direct access to our exhibit. So I'm going to come down and put a feeder, and I think we'll probably put it kind of towards the back here, but I'm going to go ahead and put some fish in here, and this one's going to be our plesiosaurs, so our ichthyosaurs, I mean. So I'm going to go ahead and place them in, and oh my god, the first one, that's adorable. Like, that's so cute. I've not seen these. They're amazing. They are so cool. And their animations are really clean now. Like, I really love that. That is an amazing model. Okay, that warms my heart. They're so cool, and I'm so excited. Let me head out so we can actually see them swimming around in here. But yeah, so there's also this one. This is kind of like a double entrance that gives us to the ichthyosaur, and this one goes to the Leopleurodon. So we'll be back there in a second. But I want to come back down here, and oh my god, that looks amazing with them swimming in there. When they're fully grown and just all over the place, I think that'll be really, really cool. I love that so much. Okay, let's do the plesiosaurs next. Another really cool like thing I put in is all of these toolboxes are filled with fish. So in different areas, I can just press Alt and grab fish without like actually having to bring a bunch with me. So I'm gonna work between episodes filling those all up with fish. So that way we just have tons of supply here that we can just continuously restock. Okay, for the plesiosaurs, I'm gonna put their feeder off to the side, like right here. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna put it this side. I'm gonna put it on this side. I think right there will be good. So we'll throw another set in there, and let's do the plesiosaurs. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And oh my god, those are really cool. I love their updated texture. Of course, these guys have been in the mod for absolutely forever. So I remember the days when they were like bright orange. I really like this darker, more realistic color. I think this is a really cool texture. And they also look super amazing swimming in there. I think when they're fully grown, it's going to look even better. But even now, just them kind of like swimming through the plants is looking absolutely amazing. I love that. I love that there's actually some movement now and like some life in these exhibits. I think that's really cool. Yes, I'm just in love. For Archaeology, I couldn't actually fit a staff entrance starting from here. There's basically this block that I'm looking at right now, and then the floor of the upstairs exhibits. So there was not a lot of room. I had to like really squeeze in those pathways to make them all work. That's why they're sometimes like only 2 blocks tall. It's a very cramped space. So for the Archaeology, I actually had to put the entrance through the build out here. We added this little extension, and half of it is taken up by the tide pools exhibit. You can see them right through there. But there's one little section, there's this door right here that gives us a tiny little area that was completely unused. So I did same treatment with all the industrial components, and this is just our entrance into the Archaeology. I thought it was really cool, just use of that little space, so I thought it was very nice. I'm going to put the feeder right here, and we're going to put another set of cod, and then this guy is a new one, so I'm excited to see what he kind of looks like. And oh my gosh, that's a really cool texture. I don't know if they stay like that, but that's super cool. It's like tiger stripe. That's actually amazing. I love that so much. They are really cool. I've only done a little bit of research into like what they are and like because this is apparently a shark, but I really love that texture. That is amazing. All right, it's time for the big one of the episode, our Leopleurodon. Now these guys, I don't know if they'll attack me. I hope not. These guys are definitely very predatory. I'm gonna put their feeder kind of in the back here. I'm really hoping that they can fit through this arch, but I do need to be careful because I don't actually know like what their hitbox is. Let's put their feeder. Let's put it out a little bit. Let's put it like right here on this block. I think that'll be good. We'll put another section of fish. Okay, and now I'm gonna get ready to swim out of here if they decide to attack me. But I'm gonna place them right there and there. Oh, okay, they're not attacking me, but oh my god, they are adorable. That's so cool. Oh my god, these guys might be my new favorite. Out of all of the retextures, I'm loving that. He's got such a cute baby model. That's adorable and amazing, and I'm in love. Like, genuinely in love. I think this whole build has been so worth it to actually finally get these guys. Like I said, back in the old versions of the mod, I forgot to put a button. I never actually, like, built an aquarium. Because water back in that old version was so uncomfortable to work with, I had never actually in survival built an aquarium or, like, anything for the marine reptiles. Like, obviously, in creative, I would, like, spawn them in a river or something. But actually having a place, an exhibit that we've made for them is absolutely amazing. And oh my gosh, I love how they kind of blend into the background. That's amazing. I'm in love with these guys. But yeah, so I think that's gonna just about do it for today. I think actually, let me show you guys one more thing because I wanted to quickly mention this. Digging out this whole project has afforded me a ton of stone. I've got about 7 shulker boxes of just straight stone. I've got a bit of dirt. I've got a ton of other like odd bits and materials, and I wanted to quickly show you what I have been putting that towards. I've kind of started outlining. This is going to be a little teaser for the next episode. I have started outlining the terraforming. Not too much on this because I'm still thinking about what this is going to be. I've reworked how this pathway is going to work, but I've also started laying out foundations for mountains. In the next episode, I think it's going to be a complete terraforming episode, but I have a little idea to make it a little more interesting. But overall, this is where we're heading, and we're going to expand out our prehistoric plains in the next episode. So if you're excited for that, please stay tuned. It'll be probably a little while just because if you didn't know, I am in a summer semester and it's wrapping up. So I've got finals probably when this is actually going to get posted. It'll be like middle of my finals week. So just be patient with me. It'll probably be a little bit like, again, the 2-week gap between episodes for the next two, just because I'm in finals. And then immediately after that, I'm going on vacation with my family. So I'm trying to pre-record just a little bit so I'm not leaving, too long without content. But just look forward to this next episode being some real good progress on the prehistoric plains area. We're probably going to be taking a break from this, but I'm excited to see your guys' reaction to the sub-level we've been working on and all of these creatures. I don't know if we'll do names for all of them. Let me know just go ahead and leave suggestions for names for all of the creatures. I might make a post just because I don't want to deal with, sorting through all of the creatures. So I'll just leave. I probably will make a community post. So go check that out to see if there's for name suggestions. These guys are all looking amazing, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Excuse me, sir. There are no pets allowed in the aquarium. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Now that he's left the building, hello everyone, and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs. I'm in the middle of what we worked on in our last episode, which is our aquarium sub-level, and all of our creatures have fully grown up, and they're just looking absolutely amazing. Swimming through each of their enclosures, these are so amazing. I'm really especially proud of our Leopleurodons. Look at how scary they look. I mean, scary, but also like absolutely adorable, and I love them so much. But yeah, they can kind of fit into the cave, and I've just been watching them swim around, and it's just absolutely amazing watching them. But I have quite a few name suggestions in this shulker box. I have so many name tags. And let's just go through and quickly name all of them. I'm going to start with let's do the plesiosaurs first. I've got 4 names here. Ted, Fred, Flippy, and I'm going to butcher this, but Cercinus? But I'm just going to call it Cersei. We have actually an even split on gender of just two males and 2 females. So I'm going to find the males. I'm going to name the males Fred and Ted, and then the females I'm going to name Flippy and Cercinus or Cersei. I think that's looking good. And then we'll pop over to the ichthyosaurs. All right, and for the ichthyosaurs, I've got 5 in here, and we're going to name the males Jerome. Peck is over here. We'll name this one Peck. And we need where's the last male? This is very confusing. This one, Tango. And then the females, we're going to name Salsa. And where's the last one? It's very hard to find all of these guys. There we go. Cutie. There we go. I'll quick mention that I did go ahead and put bubblers in all of the enclosures. That was a suggestion on the last video to prevent them from actually attacking each other or starving. So thank you for that. And now let's go to the Leopleurodons. And I'm going to name these guys Leo. And I'm going to name the other one Charlie. If you don't get the reference, please go look up the magical Leopleurodon. And now for our final creatures. All right, and for these guys, I've got the name suggestion Dash, and let's find the others. This one's our female. This one's going to be named Seafoam, and this one over here is going to be named Crash. With all of our animals' names, I just want to thank you all so much for all of the love and support on last video. All the comments were amazing, and I just want to thank you guys so much. It means so much. I read all of them. Or as I say that now, I read all of them because I'm still a small channel. That might change in the future, but as of now, I try and read every single one of them. If I miss them, I'm sorry. But it just means so much to me that you guys are actually responding to the video. It truly means a lot. And I do seriously want to thank the comments you see on screen now for the suggestions and names. Some of them I did, my roommate suggested a couple names that I went with. But overall, thank you all so much for your lovely comments, and I just really appreciate it. But now for today's episode, I'm going to preface what we're going to get into with a warning. From this clip on, it's going to be straight time lapses. I know that doesn't sound enthusing, but as I'm recording this right now, it's the middle of my finals week, and also I am going on a cruise next week, so not a whole lot of time for Minecraft. So I'm basically going to only be able to play whenever, I have a short break or just a little bit of time. So this is going to be most of the terraforming projects that I want to work on over the next couple of weeks. And it's just going to be the replay time-lapse footage from all of that. So if you don't really want to stick around for that, I don't blame you. I am going to spice it up by spending the whole episode talking about concept, ideas, and plans for the future. I have tons of ideas for tons of builds, and I just want to share them all, get your guys' opinions, and let you know what I think is going to come next. So without wasting too much more time, I'm going to get straight into it. All right, it's now present editor me. All of this footage is from about either 2 weeks ago or another week ago, because I just spent a week overseas. But we're starting off between the Diplodocus and the aquarium. And we're kind of just doing the hills in between to kind of expand out those plains. If you all want videos that are kind of like terraforming related, please let me know. I thought about a couple kind of terraforming explainer videos, just because I know I do a lot of terraforming without a whole lot of explanation sometimes. But if that's something that interests you all, let me know down in the comments, and we might look into a couple of how to build hills, how to build cliff faces, how I go about building mountains, and how I go about even building trees. And we'll talk a little bit more in depth about some of those things. So if that's something that interests you all, let me know, and I will be sure to make it. But we're currently expanding out the plains section. And I have a couple of things I want to talk about in the plains. Firstly, what are we putting in them? I want to put Gallimimus for sure. And I'm thinking of a couple of others. I want to put maybe Dryosaurus, and like something like that, as well as a carnivore. I can't decide what carnivore, maybe Ceratosaurus, but I don't know if he fits in the like plains area. If there's another one in the mod that I'm like forgetting at the moment that you guys think really deserves to be in the plains area, let me know and we'll kind of incorporate them, and we'll figure something out. But I also need to find out a way to transition out of the plains, not out of the plains, but into the aquarium, because the aquarium is meant to feel more tropical, more almost like on something you would see down in like Florida or something. I would say it's got to transition into something a little more tropical, a little more like along the equator. I actually, because I live in the Midwest, I had to drive through Georgia and Florida to board my cruise. So I got to see tons of different like trees and foliage that I'm not really used to, and it was really, really cool seeing all these things, like trees covered in Spanish moss, but also I noticed that they were very airy, like they had a lot of open gaps. Like in the Midwest, we kind of have trees that are just like full on, there's a tree there, there's no mistake, it's just a full blob of green. But like down there was a lot more like muted greens, as well as just like it was a lot airier, so you got a whole like a really, really cool shape. And that's something I've kind of been thinking about, like transitioning into the aquarium, kind of along this cliff that you see me building now. I kind of want to like back the whole plains biome up with this kind of tropical like foliage border. I don't know if I'll be able to execute it well. I've got probably a couple of examples on screen now of the ideas I've come up with since I'm recording this. If they're any good, I might run with them. If you guys have any suggestions, please let me know, and I'll try and figure out something. It's really difficult in this version of Minecraft. I really, really wish we had pale moss from the newest versions, as well as mangrove stuff, like the roots would be really helpful. But sadly, we don't have those. So I'm going to have to figure out just different ways that I can make it work in this version. Or install a backport mod, which I kind of don't want to do because I'm worried that it will break my game for some reason. But overall, that's kind of what I'm thinking, like along this like whole like cliff face that I'm kind of working on. Just something that'll kind of transition into kind of this area almost, where there's this river behind the Allosaur enclosure. That's kind of what I want to convert into wetland swamp area. That's like not directly on the Allosaurus. I want there to be plenty of plains on that side, but I want that river to kind of work into a kind of swampland area beside the Megalodon enclosure. That'll kind of house a couple of our swamp creatures like Spinosaurus, I'm thinking Dilophosaurus, and probably Parasaurolophus. And that'll give us a couple of exhibits to put in there. I'm really trying to balance realism with all of our biomes, and I'm hoping that I'm succeeding on some level. But yeah, you can see me now kind of building cliffs in the background. These are eventually going to be turned into deep slate. I want there to be kind of a volcanic feeling to them, and I want this to be kind of inspired by black sand beaches. If I found a picture, there's probably a picture of what I'm going for on screen. I want it to feel like volcanic, but also I want it to feel dark. I want the whole ocean to be very dark. I want it to have a couple of like magma vents, as well as like I want there to be a coral reef somewhere in there. As I said, I went to on a cruise, and one of the activities that they offered was scuba diving around coral reefs. So I did do that, as well as spend a ton of time relaxing and just spending some time on the beach. It was really quite nice. I enjoyed it. Getting that opportunity to just kind of relax, gather my ideas, and kind of present them now to you. I did a ton of thinking about this world, actually, which is probably weird because I'm probably obsessed. But I thought about, you know, like some of those beaches. I kind of wanted black sand beaches because we did see one of those, and I was like, that's super cool. I kind of want to mimic that. So that cliff, I think, will probably end up being deep slate instead of stone, and we'll kind of work into some black sand, kind of like dirty beaches instead of like that pure white sand. And that'll kind of lend itself nice into the enclosure. And like I said, I went scuba diving. I saw some coral reefs. I saw like tons of animals. I saw some eels. I saw some sharks. I saw some stingrays. And I thought, overarchingly, That was so cool. I'm so excited to be able to like kind of recreate that, but with like a mosasaur almost. So like something that you will be able to just like absolutely see his environment and see him and the megalodon in separate enclosures. I need to clarify that. Someone asked me in the last episode. Yeah, they're going to be separate. But overall, they're just going to look super, super cool. I have tons of ideas for little details we can add. And overall, I'm really excited for them. But I do want to talk about future things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the next fossil and archaeology update, which take everything I'm about to show you and say with a grain of salt because everything can change. The devs are beholden to nobody. They could change anything they want and it's perfectly fine and we'll still be happy with the update. But they did, as of now, say that there's going to be 7 new creatures, which include Acrocanthosaurus, Phalakyrus, which I hope I'm saying right. I'm not really familiar. Gastonia, Sauropelta, Tenotosaurus, and Utahraptor. I hope I said all of that right, and we don't know what the 7th is. The 7th is a mystery. But I found images for 5 of the 6 of them. We don't know what the Utahraptor is going to look like, and we don't know what the 7th creature is, obviously. But from these images, I think we've got a pretty good idea of what they're going for with each of these creatures, and I'm really, really excited. More Ankylosaurids is really, really great. I'm really excited for them. And then having a couple more carnivores is going to be really cool. I'm kind of thinking like Utahraptor is an option. I'm kind of trying to decide for raptors. Do I want to have a raptor house? I am kind of basing that off of the Chaotic Craft, which is a really, really cool dinos YouTuber. If you've not heard of him, he did a very lovely series with tons of episodes, and he did a raptor house, and I'm kind of inspired by that. But if I don't end up doing a raptor house, I was also kind of thinking of a desert house, which would house our Velociraptor and maybe Protoceratops and Sidpati, as well as any other future mobs that get added that live in a desert. I would think that would be kind of a cool way to incorporate some desert environments without actually having to build a desert, because I have no idea how I would tie that in. Won't lie. But I'm excited for that update. I don't know when it'll be coming out. I have no idea. I'm just a humble Discord member on the Fossils and Archaeology Discord. So I just kind of see whatever updates they put out. So those creatures will be coming, but it does kind of remind me that all of the mod is consistently updating. Not consistently, like, every month, but like it's receiving updates and will continue to receive updates and get new creatures, get more things, different textures, all these things. So future proofing is very important. We kind of talked about that with the aquarium last episode, but it's kind of made my job hard because since we're doing a long running series, we're going to get new creatures that will, if I do too many buildings, they're really going to mess up the buildings. So that's why I'm kind of thinking more of a desert house than a raptor house, because I have no idea how many raptors they're going to put in. I can kind of future proof for deserts because I don't know, like I can just build a desert and have that in the building, as opposed to having a specific enclosure for each of these like specific raptors. But I do have a couple of builds that I've thought about that don't need future proofing, which I think on the back of the iron farm is just a flat wall. And I really would like to put like a boat dock harbor area back there that kind of like ties us into the outside world, kind of like making us feel like we do have to import a couple of things. And I think that'll be a good excuse to finish up that section of river. Today, you'll see in a minute, I do the section from where I'm working right now over to about the food factory bridge area, a little bit past that, but that's the area I focused on and got mostly done. But so I think that'll be a good excuse in a video to work on that section of river, as well as building out that harbor to kind of give us, one, a back to the iron farm, and 2, more world building almost. I also, in the area you kind of see off to the right there with that tent, is kind of where I want to put an amber mine, kind of inspired by the opening to Jurassic Park. Not the first opening, but like there's a segment where they go through an amber mine. Kind of inspired by that, I want just somewhere that kind of explains like what this park was before it was a national park, something that was like used as a mining thing and then got converted into a national park later. I think that'll be a really cool little detail, and we'll kind of explain where we got all the amber from. And I think that'll be very, like, just a really cool little backdrop to that section of the park. And then you can also see up here on that top of that cliff, that is kind of where I'm thinking the aviary is going to go. Not like directly on the cliff, but like kind of on that mountain, is where I want to put the aviary. And now the aviary is really hard for future proofing. The aquarium was very easy in my opinion, just because I could put it underground. Artificial light in that build helps those, like, it helps sell that aquarium vibe. Like when you go to an aquarium, it's almost all enclosed. It's all like pretty much, artificial light. The aviary in my head needs to have natural sunlight, and all of the exhibits need to have, some kind of airy vibe to them that lets them, like, see the sun and like have that kind of like we are flying through here. So figuring out how to future-proof that is very hard. So my idea is, instead of just a singular aviary building, I was thinking like an aviary research compound, some place that like is kind of just like a ton of buildings instead of just one main one. It'll have like one big one that I think will have the big three that we have in the mod currently, the Pteranodon, Quetzalcoatlus, and the Dimorphodon, as well as maybe Confuciusornis in there. And that'll be like our big main building, and then we'll have smaller, like more individualized buildings for any of the future mobs we get. And that's kind of like what I'm thinking of in terms of that. But I also have been thinking a lot about the lab, because that's one that doesn't need a whole lot of future proofing, because I don't see them changing like how dinosaurs are made in this mod that often. So I'm thinking the lab might be another big project we work on relatively soon. One, because I need kind of a dinosaur work area instead of just the starter base, because the starter base is small and I need, more dinosaurs than that. So I'm kind of thinking a lab might be a good one. And I'm kind of inspired by Jurassic World Rebirth, which I did go to see and I did very much enjoy as a Jurassic Park fan. I think it's better than the last two movies, but obviously not better than the original and also Jurassic World. But it was a good fresh air in that series. I won't say it's the best movie, but I did genuinely enjoy it. But I really like the opening with the lab sequence and kind of getting to see a lot of their failed experiments. Like there was this in the trailer, I'll show you the trailer version because everyone's seen it, the two-headed raptor in a test tube, which was just a really, really cool shot, and I kind of want to recreate with the Phaleosaurus is in this mod, and I think that'll be a really cool detail. And there's just a couple other things that I have in mind for the lab. I kind of want to base it around that and a couple other things I've seen that'll kind of just lend itself very nicely to a research facility in this park. And yeah, so that's most of what I want to do. There's a couple other things, like I'm thinking like bug house. I want like a cabin campsite for villager trading. Just a ton of different other things that I have in my brain space that I'm kind of working on. So let me know if you guys have any ideas for future builds, future like buildings. I want to do some more of those throughout the park, just overarchingly kind of making this feel very, very lovely. I also am thinking of a couple of redesigns for maybe our starter house and maybe the storage warehouse. There's just a couple of things I'm thinking of. Let me know how you feel about redesigns, and let me know about any ideas that you all have for future builds. But with that, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya! Hello everyone and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs episode 16. As you can kind of see by that opening and also the title, we are working primarily in the industrial area today. I started off with just decorating and building this little shed thing. It doesn't have any necessary function. It's very small, so if there's anything you think I could put in there, please let me know. I couldn't figure out anything. It might be a good place for just like a glow lichen farm. Just a very small little glow lichen area. That might be what I put in there. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Over the past couple episodes, we've been working on some pretty big projects with, last episode we did all the terraforming for the mountains and the hills, and those are pretty big ongoing projects. And then before that, we've been working on the aquarium, which is obviously a huge project. So it was very nice to kind of come here and do a very small, very detailed kind of build that just kind of let me do this, finish something, and feel a sense of accomplishment. I'm pretty happy with like all the details we put throughout the side, on the roof. It's a very nice little build, and I'm pretty happy with it. I've also kind of been between episodes working down in this area. I've put some more foliage. As you can see, I've done some more rock work and some rock texturing all throughout this area. I think it's in a pretty good state, and all it's really missing are trees. So from this kind of central area is basically only missing trees. So today we're going to work on this and kind of over into here, where in our last episode I kind of told you guys one of my ideas was to build a dock harbor to kind of decorate the back of the iron farm, as well as start decorating this river. So I think that's our goal for today, is to get majority of the industrial area just done. I really want this like whole section to be finished, to feel complete, and I'm just really excited to have this all done. So I think I'm going to just jump straight into working on this harbor. Alright, it's only been about 10 minutes and I haven't gotten tons done, but I've got enough to talk about what I'm kind of doing. I kind of walled off this section of the iron farm, so that's going to be our first layer. And then this is going to be our main like harbor work area, and that's going to be on this layer. And then at each of these little gaps I've left, I think that's going to be where we have each of our docks, and that's going to go down just one more step to kind of give it some vertical interest. And then this big gap I've left here, that's going to be our building expansion. That's going to serve as kind of like our dock building, as well as I need to find some kind of function to put in there away from the iron farm, but something that'll let us have a reason for building this. But I think the big thing it needs is something to fill in and replace all that grass. So I'm going to quickly replace it with stone. There we go. I think that's helped a ton. I think now I'm ready to start working on the actual build expansion and then start texturing up both this and the retaining walls I've put in. So yeah, let's do one more time lapse and we should be able to go ahead and get this part done. All right, I think this is pretty much done, and I'm really happy with how this has kind of turned out. I think it's a very good expansion. I think all the details are really, really cool. I've got it like we're kind of importing fencing. I've got like we're importing like different materials, different shipping containers all over the place. We've got toolboxes everywhere like we're working. I've got a cage in here like we've imported some kind of cage to transport. We've got coal. I've got like wood in some areas. It's just like this is a very like we're importing supplies in this area. It's a very worked in area, and I think it looks really, really cool. I kind of set up this area as like a warehouse, and I've been using some of the decorative blocks for like bars and for the tables. I've been using these supports in there. I think it's looking really, really cool. I've also been using copper for the roof, and I kind of converted the shed into a makeshift bee area for right now. That's very temporary because I want the bees to kind of be in a greenhouse thing, but we'll convert that to lichen later. But that's been my kind of bee farm in there, but that's allowed me to wax the roof. And I don't know why I chose copper. I just was like, let's try it. And yeah, I think overall there's just so much detail. It's really improved the overall just look of the iron farm with this expansion instead of it just being a flat wall. I think it was well worth our time to work in this area. But I do want to add just a little bit of function to this expansion because obviously we have the iron farm up there, but I want there to be another function. That's kind of why I've drawn some power into here. What I kind of want to do is use the mechanical drill to farm basalt because I plan to use it in the lagoon rock texturing. I want to use tons of deep slate and also basalt as a texture block. So we're going to rig it up here. I think we're going to do, let's do polished as our main block. I just have a lot of this. So we need to do ice to the side and soil on the bottom. I didn't get this design from anyone specific. I just kind of looked it up, like what's the kind of general shaping for a basalt farm, and that's kind of what I was going on. And then I was like, oh, I can use the drill to automatically mine it. So we can just put the lava there, and that should generate basalt. Right, okay, cool. And we'll do another thing of this. We can do it along the top as well. We'll do it along here. Actually, on the bottom, I think I do have smooth stone slabs. We can just do some smooth stone slabs. Probably need to put them there. And I think that's good. And we can also let's do them on top as well, if I could get up there. We'll do along the top right here. That looks good. And now we need something to collect. So I'm just going to dig down a little bit. And we'll do, underneath the soil, we can do a minecart hopper. So I think if I just craft one up there, we can do something like this where we can do a barrel, I guess, right there, and we'll do 2 hoppers coming into it, and we can have the hopper minecart on this block, and that should be able to collect all of the basalt, hopefully, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I don't know if... Oh, it is going. Okay, good. This segment works. Let's cover up this ice with a little bit of a ladder, and we can do some bars like this to kind of make it look a little more industrial. We'll put probably a redstone torch on there. I think that looks nice. And then in front here, I kind of want this to feel kind of forge-ish. So I'm going to do some furnaces, I think, and we can do one more stair like that, and one more stair like that, and then I think that should work nicely, and that should be all we really need for a basalt farm. And I think it's harvesting very slowly but surely. So honestly, it'll just keep going in the background while we're like working on projects and whatnot in this area. And I think we'll have tons of basalt eventually filling up this barrel. And I think that's just a good small bit of function to add to this build, so that way we have some reason to come over here every once in a while. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. What I now want to turn my attention to is the river. I want to terraform this like bottom here and make it, you know, our soil, as well as carry it all along and go ahead and texture up this whole bank of the river and this one right here. I did think about building some boats today, but I couldn't settle on any good designs, so we might have to save that for a future episode. I'm workshopping designs. I need to figure out how to build them. They're very challenging for me to build boats for some reason. I don't know how they work really. So I'm going to figure that out, but I'm going to focus on some terraforming, and maybe we can also do some tree work and just go ahead and decorate this whole forest expansion into the industrial area. So let's get right to it. Quick break from the time lapse because I wanted to come in and say that in last week's episode I was talking about future content coming to the Fossils and Archaeology mod and the creatures that might be coming in the next content drop. And I didn't know what the 7th creature was, so I left it as just a blank, but I have been told what it is. It is the Hybotus. This was actually on the Discord and I just didn't see it. But yes, it is an extinct species of shark, which will be very nice in our aquarium. And I think that's about it. I did also get the new announcement that they're updating to 1.19 and 1.20, I think this weekend, actually, as I'm recording this. So expect next episode to kind of just be a, update video, go through, get all the new features and stuff. And yeah, that'll be that. So let's get right back into the time lapse. All right, I think this is looking really, really good. I think I've done a pretty good job, actually, putting all these trees in. I definitely underestimated how long this was going to take me. I definitely put way more time into this than I was supposed to the point where I have actually moved out of my room. I am now in my apartment and now have a completely new room to figure out the sound settings for. So if my mic sounds a little bit weird, I'm still tweaking, trying to figure out the best quality. So you can definitely, like, if you skip back to the beginning of the episode and then come back to now, you will definitely notice a difference. But overall, I think this is looking really good. I'm really happy with how this has come out. I didn't get to this section. I'm going to leave that for future me. But overall, I'm pretty happy with just the environment it's kind of created. Like, this whole little lake is just very scenic. I love it a lot, and I like just being able to walk down the dock and see all of, like, the little river details that I've put in, and see that it's not just, dirt on the other side. There is some tweaks I want to make to that side by adding some small trees. I just don't really know what they're going to look like, and I do have a couple of ideas to tweak the Diplodocus enclosure, but I might do that between episodes. But yeah, like I said, next episode is going to be us updating to the next version of Minecraft, which I'm absolutely excited for, to have all of the new blocks. I think that's going to be super, super cool. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there for today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya! Hello everyone, and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs. I know this video is late. It's been tough, honestly, but I'm really excited to be back for today's episode. We are in the brand new version of 1.20.1, and things are looking slightly different, but more or less the same. I've had to tweak some of the shaders and some of, like, all that to make it work for this new version, and then honestly, I've had to basically fix the world, so we're going to talk about that just a little bit later. Yeah, it took me a while to do all that, and by the time I got all that done, my semester started ramping up, and I had tons of assignments. I also had to deal with a lot of housing things. I've moved in 2 different apartments in the past 4 weeks, mostly just because university housing got a little bit messed up, so I'm now where I'm meant to be with my friends, so everything's good now, and I'm now able to probably, hopefully, make videos better. I just didn't have a lot of time over these past couple weeks. It was just very busy with all the moving and all of the assignments I've had to do. So hopefully we can get back into the swing of things. And today, what I really want to do is just explore some of the new updates. So I think our first trip is going to be to the mangrove swamp. So let's go. And we've made it. Here is the mangrove swamp. Let's fly down here. This is our first stop of the day, and the first thing, this is 1.19, so this is the first update that we have to explore, and honestly, this is gorgeous. This is exactly what I've been looking for, some roots, and then, oh, we're gonna have to gather some mud. This is absolutely gorgeous. So I think I'm just gonna go find a nice spot, an open spot to just gather some mud, and hopefully we can get some of the general just resources from this area that we can take back to base. Alright, I'm back from the mangrove swamp, and I have a ton of mud and mangrove leaves. I've done 2 sugar boxes of mud, 1 sugar box of leaves, and I've got a couple other like roots and muddy roots, just a couple other things that were there. I've also got the propagules, so that way we can grow this up and not have to go so far away. But I did go ahead and connect the mangrove swamp through our nether roof-like system. I don't really show it on camera much, but I just have a couple of different portals, like to the stronghold and to the mesa biome. So there's just a couple couple up there. I've connected that all up. But now that we've done the mangrove and we have all those materials, I will start working it into like our pathways, like adding some like packed mud. I think would be a really good texture to start adding into this. Some of the leaves I'll probably put around like the forest floor to give some different variation to the leaves that are already here. I might use the roots along the river and stuff. Just tons of different applications. Like definitely when we start working on the swamp biome that I've talked about, it's going to come in so handy when we start working on areas like this. And now I think it's time for our next venture, which I'm going to come down here and grab some wool. We are going to finish off the 1.19 update by going to a deep, dark, ancient city. Mostly because I want the Swift Sneak enchantment, but also, you know, it's new. We got to go explore it. So I'm going to go try and find one now. I'm probably just going to look up like the coordinates with like a website or something. Try and find the coordinates of that, and I'll bring you guys back when we start going down to the deep dark. All right, there it is. I've dug down, and we're right above the ancient city. I think I'm going to tackle this by kind of just going in and kind of bridging around with wool. I think if I land properly, I don't think that there should be any shriekers near the middle. Whilst we're kind of going through, I am going to talk a little bit about what it was like updating to this new version. Mostly it just required a little bit of finessing, I would say. When I loaded into the new version for the first time, I loaded up with a backup just, you know, because I was afraid of stuff breaking, and I'm glad I did because everything broke. Basically the chipped mod between versions, I guess, had updated what library it uses, so all of its blocks had different block IDs, and thus they didn't have, when I loaded the world, they didn't load, basically. So all of the builds that we had used chipped for were just completely and utterly destroyed. There was just no blocks anywhere. And so when you do that, you know, the builds are basically ruined. So essentially, here, we're going to open this chest. There we go. Swift Sneak. A little, we can take the one, and we'll take, I don't know, we'll take the music disc. That should be it for there. But so when I loaded the world, basically everything was broken. And that's not very conducive if you want to have a series. So I tried like several different ways to like fix the world. Like obviously I tried updating one at a time. I tried doing a little bit of that. And it didn't work. Like that method didn't work. So I looked some more as to stuff I could do. And nothing was really working. And, you know, I was kind of faced with like an option of like, do I start over? Do I like, because I'll show you some pictures now. There was nothing left. There was huge gaps, and because I used them, like the pathways were all gone. The aquarium was completely ruined. There was just so much that was all wrong. And so like I was kind of like, I had to have the chip mod, and I had to have all those chip variants, so that way like we weren't starting over, but I just didn't know what to do. We'll take music disc and that. Ooh, nice. So I was just kind of faced with like what do I do? And then I kind of got an idea. I don't remember where at this point because it's been a couple weeks, but basically my idea was to go through my old world, like one of the backups, like make a copy, and then use world edit to replace all of the chip variant mob like blocks with different blocks that I don't really build with. So that's like concrete, like purple concrete, pink concrete, like stuff that I've never built out of, never will build out of. And then once I had all that like replaced, I updated the game and then replaced those placeholder blocks with their chipped variants that they were supposed to be. It wasn't perfectly one-to-one, like some of the chip variants weren't available anymore, so in a lot of those cases I either made them like a really similar chipped variant or just their basic vanilla block to kind of give them, you know, basically the same color almost. And so that worked pretty well, and that's why our world looks like somewhat like how it's supposed to. It really sucks that I had to go through all that, and that's kind of why this video is delayed, because I went through that whole process, and that took way too long, and that kind of burnt me out of like playing this, because it didn't feel like I was playing, because obviously I was using creative and like commands, and that's not how I like to play, you know, ever. But I also didn't want to start over, so I don't really consider it cheating. I know like some of you will be like, I don't really like that he did that, but honestly I think it was much better. It was a much better option than just completely starting over, because then you guys don't get new videos. I don't get to play the world that I've spent, you know, the first half of this, or more than half of this year playing, you know. So overall, I think it was a good solution, and I think it worked out pretty well. So now that we have the world and all that, I think honestly, it's worked out well, and hopefully from here we can go and continue playing the world, and just from here on out, you know, it will be survival. I don't plan on ever using creative. I think that ruins the gameplay for me more than anything, and it obviously isn't great for you guys. I know you guys want to see like a survival based experiment, so that's the only time I'll probably ever use creative, unless something similar like a mod breaks or something like that. So yeah, I think overall it worked, and honestly I think we've now explored most of this ancient city. I don't really see anywhere else. Oh wait, over here. As soon as I say that, I see a new place. Okay, put these around. I'm so nervous. Swift Sneak 2. I think, okay, that should be, those two will create a 2. Wait, these two will create a 2, this will create, and we can make a 3. Okay, I think we have everything we need from down here. I'm not really interested in the Echo Compass. Woof! Especially with now there being 3 Shriekers having gone off, because I'm pretty sure the next one he comes. So we're gonna skedaddle. I have no intention of seeing the Warden now or ever in this series. So yeah, let's head back to the surface and head back to base. Alright, we're back, so I'm just gonna combine these books and then these books, and then I should be able to just throw this on my pants, and just barely had enough levels for that, so that's good. And now we can sneak in style. That's pretty good. I like that a lot. This will be so nice when I end up building the, like, whatever we build next. Fences, this will be great. I like that. Okay, now I think we've done the big update, honestly. I think out of the 2 that we got, I think we've just finished up the big one with the mangrove swamp and the deep dark. But there is one more thing on our list today that I want to go ahead and go get. Obviously, I think armor trims are just something that I'll gather as the episodes go on, and will make our armor look pretty. But I really want to go find a sniffer egg, mostly because I want the plants. I want to be able to build with those plants. So let's go out. I think if I just grab, I think out of here, if we get a feather, and then in my copper chest, we should have copper. And I think I keep sticks over here, hopefully. I do, and then I think we can make a brush. If I remember the recipe, it should just be that. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna fly to an ocean. I think there's one in that direction, and we're gonna go just archaeology and find a sniffer egg. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, we've gone far enough, and I think we have found a, I guess these are ocean ruins that should have, sorry, they should have something. That's coal, and that's gonna be a wooden hoe, I think. And then another wooden hoe. I'm just gonna break that one so I don't keep mining it. Let's try this one. And that looks like that's an iron axe. Okay. Let's see, is there any more over here? There should be more than that, right? Oh, there's one right here. I can stand in the bubbles, hopefully, please. That's a golden nugget. All right. Well, let me just dig out a little bit. I guess, well, now that I know that we're actually in new chunks, I can go around to more over here and just keep looking for some suspicious sand. So I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll do a little montage of me just going around, finding all these ruins, and hopefully getting a sniffer egg. All right, I'm back, and here is kind of all the valuable stuff that I managed to get. I did hit a couple of jungle temples and a couple of the fossil and archaeology like temples that they've added. So I got 3 lodestones, which is actually pretty cool. I plan on kind of like using them throughout the park. I thought that was a cool idea. I got 2 armor templates. I found a pillager outpost, and in the jungle temples, I found these 2. So I think that probably next episode, between episodes or something, I will go find like specific ones that I want. I'll go make like one in one of the websites that let you like pre-make it, and then we can get some fancy armor. I also got a lot of these pottery sherds, so we can do some decorative pots in like some areas. And then I did manage to get 4 sniffer eggs. I went to so many monuments, and on the last one I just got back to back to back sniffer eggs. I don't know why. I guess RNG just really liked that one. So, but now we have 4. So I think in our next episode, I'm going to hatch them and probably give them like a little farm, maybe down here in this kind of area. I was thinking like maybe a sniffer plus bee and like building, so that way we can have sniffer plants and also honeycomb just kind of in this area. And it might be a good excuse to go ahead and start working on like some of the prehistoric plants that fossils gives us. So yeah, I think that's honestly been enough for today. I'm sorry this video is so short, and I'm sorry it's so late, but hopefully we can get back into the swing of videos, and I'll see you all in the next one. See ya! Hello everyone, and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs episode 18. As you can see, I've been a little busy working on our lagoon. I put it in some of the walls that are going to be going around the perimeter. These do kind of blend in right now with the cliff face, but I think once I get around to replacing this with deep slate, this will be a lot better in contrast, and it fits in well with our aquarium. And once we get like the beaches all prettied up, it'll all look good. But I've been working on digging out this whole section because the whole plan is going to be that I'm going to mirror this kind of line onto this side, and they're both going to go into kind of a cliff face at the back here that'll be like a tunnel that'll take you down and see the megalodon. And I do need to connect them up kind of in the middle so that way we separate out the 2 enclosures. So I've just got a lot to work on over here, and I'm thinking that honestly, if I just work a little bit each episode, kind of like how we did that opening, I will eventually make enough progress to where we can then spend a whole episode working just in this area. It's just such a big project that I don't think I could do it justice speeding through it and just trying to get it done in one episode, and the episode would take way too long to come out. So I'm feeling like today we're going to do some enclosure a little bit smaller. I've got a couple of ideas for ones. I'm thinking we might work on either something that's going in this giant blank space here, or I was thinking maybe even working on the ceratosaurs, which I'm kind of thinking might end up over here. I could place them down to see just how big they are, but this requires a lot of terraforming over here. And then the other idea I had for today was maybe Dilophosaurus over in this area, which I'm thinking like we'll bring the cliff face over to here and wrap it around a little bit, and then this whole area will be our swamp biome that we've been talking about. So I think while I figure out which one we're going to do today, I'm going to begin working on some of these paths and connecting them up to where they need to go, and then we'll get something figured out, and I'll bring you back when we're working on something else. Just a little check-in. I've decided I'm gonna build this bridge here. I definitely wasn't planning on building this today, but I think it's warranted because obviously we need to go to this side of the river and we're expanding out this way a little bit. So I was thinking that this would be a really cool, like, just way to get over there. And I'm kind of thinking it's gonna be one of those wooden bridges that has like a roof on it, so it's like a walking bridge that you can walk under and, you know, not get rained on and stuff. So I'm gonna build some kind of roof here. Obviously this is on a diagonal, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna do slabs like straight up that way. But I do think I want to use the I forget what it's called, but it's one of the fossils and archaeology plants. It's the one that's like only like 4 blocks tall. I used it on the Allosaurus roof over here, like the little viewing area. I don't remember what this wood is called, but I think I'm going to use that, so I might have to farm some of that up. But I'm thinking this is going to be a really cool little build that's just going to add a little bit of life into this section of the park. Obviously I need to connect the path up to here, but actually between those clips we obviously connected the path over here to the actual aquarium and have actually like made this connect. So the park is now connected to the aquarium, so you guys know exactly where the aquarium is. It is right here. It is connected. We're all good. I feel like this has been disconnected from the park for such a long time, so now it's really nice to just have it actually connected. Also, between those two clips, I went through the entire park. Yes, the entire park and all the paths, and I've added in packed mud that we got in the last episode. It's very, like, subtle. You definitely wouldn't notice it if I wasn't pointing it out right now, but I think just it's kind of got a blue hue, I guess is the right word for that kind of just like gives your eyes that nice little feeling when you're walking along. Again, you don't really notice it unless you look at it, but like I just feel it, you know? Whenever I'm walking, I just feel that little variation in texture, that little variation in color, and I think it feels really nice and has really made the paths feel a lot better to me. I know, like, everyone's gonna think I'm crazy, like, that little bit of block does not matter, but I think it adds just to the overall feeling of walking along our paths. So I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of glad that I took the time. It only took like an hour or two just to walk through and be like, doop, 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 add some more. Oh, this spot needs some more, just put some there. So overall, I'm really happy with that. It goes through the entire park. I didn't do the enclosures yet. I might add that in a future, just whenever I get time, but it right now is only on the outside paths. I definitely want to use packed mud in some of the enclosures that we build later, just to give them a more dirty, rocky feeling. But overall, I'm really happy with that. And so yeah, I think I'm gonna finish up this bridge, and then we're gonna work our way over here. I'm gonna expand the pathway over to this area, and we're gonna we're not gonna work on the aquarium section, but we're gonna bring the rock wall over here, and we're gonna clear out this forest, because this is where our swamp wetlands area is gonna be. So this is gonna be where we're gonna put the Dilophosaurus, the Spinosaurus, the Sarcosuchus, and probably the Parasaurolophus. I'm feeling like those are our main swampy dinosaurs and extinct creatures, so I'm thinking this area. I know we started off uncertain about what we were doing, so I left it up to you guys. I put a poll in the post tab, and you guys voted Dilophosaurus, so that's what we're going to do, and hopefully I can get at least something cool done today. So yeah, let's get right back into finishing up this bridge, and then we can get clearing this forest and making way for a new exhibit. All right, so the bridge is finished, and honestly, I really like it. I like how it kind of comes out to the ends here, and it's just got a really, really cool just vibe to it. I love the little lanterns, especially at night when you're walking across. It really like is gonna connect this side of the river to that side, and especially once we actually get this section of the forest built out with more creatures, I think it's gonna be really cool. Getting this part expanded out as well is gonna be really nice, and we've got it branching off kind of by path, not fully decorated over here just because I already spent way too much time doing this. I have dug out this whole like hillside down several layers, and we have a giant area, and this is going to be our swamp. So over here, I've kind of got it planned out for the Dilophosaurus. I think we're going to do 3. I just didn't want to use all the fossil remnants that I had. And then over here, instead of the Parasaurolophus, I'm thinking we do Therizinosaurus. One, because I think a swamp is a better fit like for its natural habitat, and 2, I did rewatch Dominion somewhat recently, and I remembered that they were in a swamp, and I really like that kind of whole vibe. And then we got, obviously, the Spinos back here. I think I might even extend this flattening over this way just a little bit more to give them even more room. I want them to have a really big enclosure. And then, obviously, we have the Sarcos over here. I've only got 1 down, but there'll probably be, like, 2 probably in here. And we'll kind of, I'm thinking, branch this one across this river. I think this river is subject to be filled in a little bit with the different, like, terraforming I want to do in this area. But we're just going to have to see where it goes, because we're going to start over here at the Dilos and work our way back. I definitely spent way too much time digging this out, as I don't have a ton of time for this video. It's currently Thursday as I'm recording this, and I typically like to post on Friday, so I'm gonna try and get something done to where we can actually put the Dilos in today, hopefully. If not today, then we're definitely gonna get the Dilos tomorrow, and maybe either the Therizinosaurus or the Sarcosuchus. It's just, I think I spent way too long on just making sure that this, like, shape-wise, this whole area looked pretty good. And obviously, there are so many materials that we just now have built up, so that'll let us do a lot of, like, the terraforming projects elsewhere really fast. I do think that I have always kind of included those kind of segments, like, in that time-lapse, all of that. And I was just wondering, I want you to let me know down in the comments, would you guys still like to see those in the videos, or would you prefer I start maybe streaming to show some of that grind work? Because obviously it took me like 3 hours to dig this all the way down, and it was just a lot of manual, like, doing that. So let me know if you still just want to see that in time lapses in the video, or if you guys would prefer I just didn't time lapse it and just had it like in a stream or something. I'm just trying to look at different ways to show what I've been doing, so I think I would leave that up to you guys to see. Would you guys watch something like that, where I just sit down for an hour or 2 and dig? Because we've got a lot of, like, those kinds of projects shaping up in this world, so I think that might be a really good way to actually, you know, get some stuff done without taking up a minute of the video of just digging time lapse. So let me know if that's something that interests you, and let's see what we can do about this Dilophosaurus exhibit. I can't sleep yet. I'm thinking what all that's left to do with the, like, actual digging is I need to dig out, like, rivers, like streams that go through the whole section here and kind of make it very, like, wet looking, and then we can go through with ground texture and plants and obviously the fences. But I think the fences will probably be what I do first, just so I can get the Dilos in here today, and then I'll kind of get the base decorations in for their enclosure, and then next time we'll finish up more of this area. I think this will be kind of my main focus for the next couple episodes, is just working on this swamp, mostly because I'm excited. I love all of the creatures that I've already, like, placed their skeletons down, so I think this will be like a cool little project to work on and get done. So yeah, I think I'm going to work on trying out a couple fence designs, and I'll bring you guys back when I've got some kind of something just to show, and then we can expand it out. Alright, this is the design I've kind of come up with. It's very simple. I don't know if I've actually talked about this. I have now installed Create Deco since the update, so we have some cool different like little lights that we can use, and a couple different, like, fence materials. I tried to use these, but they don't seem to connect to walls. I thought this would be really cool though, as like a chain link fence, but it just wasn't connecting to the walls and stuff, so I couldn't get, like, shaping and stuff right. But so I think I went with this, and I think it looks a little bit better. I kind of want it to feel very, like, 1, safe, like the Dilophosaurs aren't going to be able to get out, but 2, it kind of needs to feel like it's a chain link fence, because if you look at, like, nature preserves of like lions and stuff. It's literally just chain link fences. So I'm gonna carry this all the way around and back here. And then I think for today we're just gonna dig like probably so that this is only too tall at the back of the enclosures. And then, or at the back of this one, I'm only doing one enclosure today because I have a project that I need to get to, and hopefully you guys will get to see just a little bit later. But I need to get this hopefully done so I can get this video posted tomorrow. But yeah, so I think if we just leave it as 2 blocks in the back for now, and make sure that they can't get out anywhere, like just leaving a little bit right here. And then I think if we close this off, I was actually going to plan on using this cave as part of the enclosure, just having like the Dilophosaurs have their own little like nest almost. But I'm gonna actually wait, I can just open that because it is completely covered. Yeah, okay, so I think that'll be that, and then we'll have the fence basically coming up to about right here. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly build out this fence, and then hopefully we can do just a little bit of the groundwork, probably just planning out where the stream's gonna go and replacing the ugly stone, and then we can hopefully get our Dilophosaurs in. Okay, fence is put in, and now what I want to come through and do is just kind of dig out where I think some of the streams are gonna go. So kind of like along here, and I'm gonna say it's gonna come across here. So the whole, like, throughout this whole area, there's just gonna be different branches of different, like, streams going different ways, and it should go throughout the whole exhibit and kind of, like, twist around and, like, be joined by other sections of stream. It's gotta feel very, like, chaotic, but also, like, this is something, or this is somewhere where water would naturally flow to. So I'm kind of thinking, like, a little bit, like, let's do a little pond at the back here, like, just little bits, and I can add rocks and stuff to kind of make some more sense out of all this. So it's kind of just coming through and randomly digging in different ways. So I think if we maybe branch off this way, yeah, that'll be good. And I need to make this all a little bit wider so that way, because this isn't actually what level water's got to be at. Water's got to be one more down, so we got to kind of dig a little bit wider than what we would normally do, so that way I can come through again and add in even more depth, basically. So I'm gonna go through and do that, and then replace the entire floor with grass to start off with, and then I'll bring you guys back and we'll hatch the Dilophosaurus, because I'm quickly running out of time for this. I've got an exam tomorrow, so I need to finish this up really quickly. So I'll do one final time lapse. We'll get this all done. I might do a little bit of rock work depending on if I have time, and then we should be able to put in our Dilophosaurs. Alright, I've replaced the ground with grass, and I've added in the water lines, and also just bone mealed it all to make it look at least somewhat decent. It's definitely not finished. I need to add so much more. I need to finish this rock wall and do just a ton of more stuff, but I am desperately out of time for this episode because I still need to edit before tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and start hatching our Dilophosaurs, and while we wait on them for a little bit, I'm just going to talk a little bit about where I see kind of this area going. Obviously, we're going to take the path along here. We're going to probably curve it around to here, around the Therizinosaurus, and then probably do kind of like a building, maybe even like a watchtower kind of here, so we can see the Spinosaurus and everything. We'll have the Sarcos over here. And so we'll just have the path run through. It's going to have like kind of mini bridges kind of taking it over some of the streams out of just like campfires, I'm thinking. And we'll just keep carrying that along. Obviously, I need to move the beacon and all of the just materials that we've gathered today. I need to find a place to put all of that. But yeah, so I think what we're going to do as well is just like on the insides, like along the streams, we're going to do mud. And I think like the muddy roots, the muddy mangrove roots will be a really cool texture to just have like all around here. Make it look very, very muddy, very like damp and stuff. And then like the foliage is going to be pretty dense, I think, kind of mangrove feely, using all the roots and all the leaves that we've gotten in the last episode. So I think it's going to be very, very neat once I actually, have the time to do it. So that's what you have to look forward in the next episode. And I'm immediately after doing this, I'm going to go record something a little bit special. So hopefully I don't spoil it now. If you actually want to try and guess what I'm doing, please leave it in the comments. And the first person that I see that guesses it right, I'm going to put them somewhere in this world, like just like a sign or something. Or you'll forever be immortalized in this world. So just try and give a little guess, And don't forget to let me know what you guys think about streams and stuff. I'm going to try and get into that. I'm going to try and learn how to do it. So just let me know what you guys think about that. Let's see, we're at 75. Okay, what else to talk about? Yeah, so I think this enclosure might be a tad bit small. Just a little bit, but I think once it's got to kind of feel small because I want all the foliage to kind of just make it feel crowded almost. And the Dilophosaurs are like, ambush kind of predators in my mind at least. And then they'll just like pop out at you and get you. All right, they're about to hatch, hopefully. So yeah, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. And let's see. Let me make sure you guys also leave name suggestions. And there they are. Oh, that's so cool. Wait. Oh, they've got such a cool baby texture. That's adorable. All right, we've got one male, perfect. One male, or two males, and one female. That's lovely, actually, so we can have both kinds. They're so cute. I love the stripes on these guys. Okay, that's adorable, and I'm so happy that these guys are finally in the park. We finally have a second carnivore, so everyone that's wanted a second carnivore, there it is. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts on streams and stuff are, and what you think the secret project is I'm working on. So without, spending way too much time just yapping around here, I'll let you guys go, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya! Hello everyone and welcome back to Minecraft Dinosaurs, where things are looking a little bit different in our swamp area. I've decided to change a couple things since last episode. I wasn't really happy with the fence design I had done. It was very Jurassic Park-esque, and that's not the vibe I want for this whole world. I want it to feel very much like a national park or almost like a nature walk. So that fence design was very low visibility. You couldn't see into the enclosure, and it was very industrial looking, and I didn't really like that. So I kind of went for this more open kind of walkway, and definitely I did get some inspiration from some comments and just from real life. Pathways through swamps look to be kind of just like these walkways made out of wood that have no railing or anything, and it's really just to keep you out of the marsh and the mud. So I think I kind of tried to replicate that, where it's kind of just this raised walkway, and then the actual fence of the enclosure is just kind of this railing here to keep you from falling in, and then there's some mesh fencing down at the bottom here. Now, I do want to talk about these fences off to the side. I use this industrial iron mesh fence from the Create Deco mod. And this is kind of finicky because it doesn't connect to wall blocks and iron bars, so it was really difficult to get it to look somewhat decent. I tried to use these lamps as well and this down at the bottom to give it some structure, but honestly, I'm still not happy with it. And then I logged on today, and Fossils and Archaeology just added brand new fence blocks, and they kind of look like chain link fence, which is what I originally wanted for this fence here. So I'm going to rework how these look using these new blocks, and I'll see how good that looks. And I think with this last little bit, I think that's a lot better. It's definitely more airy almost, I guess is the best way to describe that. So it just feels like this fence isn't there. I did do the lights still, just because I kind of like it. It's not electrified, but this is just a warning, don't cross this fence. They are carnivores and stuff. So I do like that, and it helps give some light at nighttime. So honestly, I'm much happier with this kind of design, and I think I'm honestly ready to just start working on actually doing the ground texture in this enclosure. So I'm going to go ahead and start the montage, and hopefully we'll get some cool stuff done. I think this is pretty good for the ground texturing. I think it really sells that very swampy feeling with all the mud and the darker ground I've gone for. I've got little patches of greenery through the moss and the coarse dirt. I think now I would like to turn my attention to this rock wall to really darken it so it's not just this really bright stone. I think that color change has done wonders for this exhibit. I think that being much darker really helps. There's a little cave off to the side where they can go and hide out at night. I think it's a really cool effect, and I think now I'm ready to start working on plants and trees to kind of finalize this exhibit. with all this foliage done, I think I can count this exhibit fully finished. I'm really liking how all the waterways look, the custom mangroves I've done, and these like little bits of bushes. It really sells that whole like overgrown swamp feel, and I think it really works for the Dilophosaurs. I think they blend in really, really well. I've even on like the mangrove tree right there, I've seen one of them like walk directly under that, and I think that's a really, really cool effect. But overall, I'm really happy with this. I am still getting used to it a little bit because like I've been building those trees in that style of forest for the past like almost year. So building in this new style is a little bit like it's weird, but it's really cool and I'm having a lot of fun. So honestly, I think I want to keep working in this area. I know this is going to be a very swamp heavy episode, but I want to carry on what I was doing and I want to start by placing down the big spruce trees to kind of turn this whole grass area into podzol. That has definitely been a quick way to actually change a lot of this ground. I do need to go through by hand and actually replace some of this grass where I just I got to the point where I was getting too much spruce wood for my actual storage room, which is never a bad thing, but also I don't really need any more at the moment. So I'm going to kind of go through by hand and replace these grass bits with our ground texture. But overall, I think it's a good starting point. But now what I want to do is I want to go through and like this whole area, it's looking really, really flat. So I'm going to go through kind of like how we did originally with the Dilophosaur exhibit and kind of elevate some areas and then also lower some areas to kind of give this whole place more interest. And I'm also thinking that I might go ahead and start terraforming, like adding rock walls along this side and over there to kind of shape out the next two exhibits that we're going to be putting in this area. All right, I've been making tons and tons of progress, and I thought I'd update you guys quickly on what I've kind of been up to. Namely, I've kind of replaced the blocks under all the water and like outlined them with the mud. I've started filling in some of those big patches of grass with the podzol, and then I've also been working on some of the rock walls and placing in some bigger rocks just around the swamp to kind of give it more, I guess, shape. I've kind of gone over here as well and added in a bunch over here. I'm thinking that I want to do the Therizinosaurs instead of the Sarcos in this area, just because it's a little bit more like land heavy, not as much room for like waterways, and I figured that fits them a little bit more because they'll be like foresting for like different vegetation and stuff, so they might be hanging out in this area. But yeah, so overall, I've been just kind of working all over the place, so it's been very sporadic, so I don't have any like good footage or like time lapse or anything to show you. So I think what I might do is I might pick one of the enclosures to just lock in on for the rest of this episode, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to be the Therizinosaurs, just because I've kind of got their area already outlined. I've got like a good size in mind, so I think I'm going to work on extending out this pathway quickly over to here and kind of creating that last little barrier, and then I'll bring you guys back and we can finish off that enclosure. But before I actually get to work on the Therizinosaurus enclosure, I realized I never showed you what I ended up naming the Dilophosaurs. I've got Dylan, I've got Emily, and I have one back here named Nedry. The commenters who left those suggestions should be on screen right now. I did end up changing Dennis to Nedry because I already have a dog named Dennis, so I thought that this was it kept the sentiment, but also I wanted to have a different name in the world. But yeah, thank you guys so much for the suggestions, and honestly, thank you all for the comments on the last video. It was a lot of good like suggestions and really cool stuff. But I do want to say, if you have cool suggestions, one of the better ways you can actually give it to me is by joining the new community Discord. I know, what a segue. But yeah, we've got a really cool new Discord. It's got tons of channels. Hopefully, tons of members will end up joining and we'll have a lot of fun time. If you liked my videos, if you kind of like this mod and all the stuff I do over on the SMP in this series and etc., it's just going to be a ton of fun. I'll be in there teasing new videos and like talking about stuff. So yeah, feel free to join. The link is in the description of this video. All right, I've got the walkway kind of coming over there and also branching off to the side there. I've also started working on like maybe adding some interest with some like kind of fence supports on the side every once in a while to just give it a little bit more interest. I'm just trying to figure out ways that I can like add detail to this walkway. I think I might go grab some campfires and try and make it look a little bit aged, like it's a little bit falling apart in some areas. But what I now want to do is I really want to start focusing in on the Therizinosaurus enclosure by kind of working on what we did over at the Dilophosaurus enclosure, where I kind of built up these supports and kind of reinforced this side of the wall, because you don't really want it to be open like the actual walkways, where you kind of want it to be a little bit more secure. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to build in those kind of little supports. I'm going to put the fencing down at the bottom so they can't like crawl under or something, and then I'll just keep placing it along, and then we'll eventually have a nice wall here. I might put in some of the chain link fences kind of connecting up to this rock, connecting these rocks, and then around the back, so that way we have a fully filled enclosure, and then we might be able to just go ahead and put the Therizinosaurus in. The walkway is definitely more enforced now, and it's looking really, really nice, and I've got the chain link fences already put in, so technically this enclosure is fully done in terms of like actually being able to house our Therizinosaurs. But I'm going to quickly fly over to my house to check my DNA storage, which I think I only have one Therizinosaurus DNA, so I'm going to quickly go grab some biofossil to throw in the analyzer. And I've got a stack and a bit as well as 41. I think, honestly, that should be enough if I go and break this all down. I also really, really hope that we get some of the new DNA. They just added a new creature. I think it's the Postosuchus. Hopefully I'm... Whoa! What? How are you out, sir? How long have you been out? Okay. Let me work on... Wait! I was about to cut, but I just remembered something. There is a brand new item that's going to be perfect for this. They just added the laser pointer too. I was about to talk about the new dinosaur, but they just added a brand new like control item. I think it's a... Is it a Ooh, how do you spell it? Laser... Oh, is it one? Yeah, sorry. Alright. Iron, redstone, and glowstone. Okay, I should have all of the necessary stuff around. I'm just going to make another block out of that. There we go. Glowstone. Where do I keep glowstone? It'd be over here, maybe? Do I have any? Do I have any glowstone? I should. Glowstone acquired, hopefully. Okay, this should be all we need. And now I should be able to craft the laser pointer if I just put all of the ingredients in, hopefully. Switch these around. And there we go. Okay, now if I understand this item correctly, I should just be able to just slowly lead him with the laser pointer. I don't know if that's exactly how this works, but... Oh, there's a zombie somewhere, but here, if I do this... Oh, she's following it. Is she not going to follow it because she's hungry? I got some food because I noticed she was starving, and I don't actually want her to because that makes me sad. Okay, now let's try this laser pointer again, and hopefully if I do it right, I can just place it there, and she just goes directly... That's so cool, actually. So wait, we could totally use this to actually just, like, pose dinosaurs much better. That's so nice. Thank you to the Fossil and Archaeology team. I could totally just grab a stick, but this is a lot more fun. Because I can just point the laser, and then she goes. Look at her run! Look at her run! We're in the home stretch. I've almost got her back in. I don't know how she got out, though, because they've been in here for ages. Literal ages. So I don't understand how she's gotten out. Here, come on, Mia. One little push. And there she goes. She's back in. I don't know how she got out because they have been in here for ages. So I don't know how they're escaping. All right, now that the distraction is over, I'm going to quickly finish placing down and breaking down all these fossil ores, so hopefully we get some good DNA. I'm hoping for another Therizinosaurus because I want 2. I'm also hoping we build up some of the Postosuchus DNA because I originally thought about doing that this episode, but I don't have a really good area for it. But I'm going to take the time while this is actually analyzing to look up the Postosuchus and maybe come back with a couple cool facts about it. So no Postosuchus DNA, sadly, so I'll save my facts for next time. But I did get a second Therizinosaurus DNA, which is actually perfect for what I needed. So hopefully we can go ahead and cultivate these. And I think while I wait, I'm going to go ahead and head over and start working on texturing up the rock walls. Oh, we've got Wiggles. Our Therizinosaurus are just about to hatch. I think they're on like 94. Okay, quickly, I did the rock texturing. They all look good now. I think the only things that are needed are the vegetation, but our Therizinosaurus should hatch now. And Oh my goodness, they have such cute eyes. Look at that. That's so cute. Okay, we've got a female and a female. We've got two females in this enclosure, so we'll need some names in the suggestions down below. In the comment section, please give me the names. But dang, that is so cute. These are another one of the ones that I had in my like really old Dinos world that I did by myself, and oh my goodness, they're so adorable. It's so adorable. Let me actually make sure they have food. I'm gonna feed them real quick. I don't want hungry babies. Okay, let me actually set them up with a feeder real quick. I think that's enough food to survive them for a little while. I would love to actually do the decorating of this exhibit or this enclosure today, but it's actually currently Thursday, and I really want this video to go out tomorrow, so I need to start editing. So I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for today. We've got our Therizinosaurus, we've got our Dilophosaurus enclosure made, and honestly, the swamp is beginning to take shape. I think it's going to be really cool when it's done, when I've got all of these like empty areas filled in and it's just a really immersive environment. I'm excited. I hope you guys really liked some of the builds I've done today. And yeah, I would like to take a quick moment to thank my channel members, which should be on screen now. It really means a lot, and I have no idea why you're paying me money, but just know I appreciate you to the ends of the earth. And again, please consider joining the Discord if you'd like to become a channel member. That's where you'll get all your rewards. And already, it's just going to be a really great community. I'm really excited for it, and I would love to have you all there. Without wasting too much more of your time, I'll say goodbye to you, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya! Hello everyone and welcome back to Minecraft Dinos. I do not have a whole lot of time today. We have lots of things to do, lots of things to get done, because if you weren't aware, this is the last episode before I release the first world download of this world. So I've got tons to work on. As you can see, I have already decorated the Therizinosaurus enclosure. I sped through it for you guys. This was a couple hours of work for me, but I think it's looking really nice. I've kind of gone for these more, I think they're like cedar trees. Don't really know my trees that well, but these are much taller, much more open, and I think it fits the Therizinosaurus as well. They've also got the swamp vibes over near the front, kind of like by the water line. But I'm going to name them real quick. I've got a name suggestion from the user you see on screen to name them Thelma and Luis. Sorry, I'm talking really fast, but we have literally no time. I've kind of been a little busy over in this area because I've obviously done that, but I also have live streamed and I've been working on decorating some of the space that won't be enclosures. As you can see here, this has been kind of decorated to be a little bit more lush. I do need to do the trees and stuff, but that's something that we'll get to if we have time today. What I need to now do is expand out this walkway and kind of get planning to where we're going to have the Spinosaurs. All right, using Freecam, I can kind of have a look at what we did here. I just kind of brought the pathway out to here and extended it along this big patch of land. Now, this is still very green, so we're going to have to replace that in a bit, but I think the fence is going to kind of connect up to this part of the rock right there, and I'm going to bring the other section of fence out and include some of this water so that way the Spinos can actually have a place to swim. I do think I'm going to move the Sarcos. I just didn't like how much room was over here, so I'm going to have to figure something out for the Sarcos a little bit later. They might not even be in this episode, or I might honestly make us a bridge to bring us over here to kind of put the Sarcos in this portion of water. But we'll just have to wait and see if we can get to that this episode. My main goal is to focus on this portion of the swamp and get this whole area decorated really nicely. So I'm actually going to start working before we get to the Spinos on actually doing what I did on live stream over here with all the foliage and stuff, and just do it in these patches of land to kind of give it a little bit more life and a little bit more lushness, so that way it actually feels like an actual swamp. Now that I've got this back section done, I want to take a quick moment to just plug my community Discord. It's a really great way to connect with me and connect with people that kind of like the same similar stuff that we're doing on this channel. Honestly, if you guys want to check it out, it's so much fun. I post teasers, I do polls, I do tons of stuff, and I'm hoping to do even more stuff as we keep going along with it. But yeah, so please check that out. And if you do choose to become a channel member, that's where you're going to access all of your rewards and all your benefits and all of your stuff like that. So yeah, please consider checking that out. And now I should probably get back to work because again, so much to do. So we've got this done over here, and I think I'm just going to copy it over here. Alright, it's been another day or two. I've done another live stream, and I just want to quickly apologize if I sound a little stuffy. I've got a little bit of a mild cold, but there's nothing better than playing Minecraft when you're sick. So we're going to get back to work, but I've kind of done exactly what we did over here and just kind of brought it over here, and I've started working it into the pond a little bit. I've kind of done acacia bushes to kind of really bring it towards, like, bring that foliage into the pond with tons of lily pads and stuff. This is going to be a really cool view from the pathway, and I've been thinking whilst I was doing that, we were in the live, and I just had a couple of ideas being tossed around and such. I'm thinking this pathway, I kind of didn't know where it was going to go, if it was just going to end here, or if I was going to take it back up onto higher ground. I think, honestly, I might build a gazebo, kind of like how we have on the Diplodocus and on the Allosaurs. Maybe a little bit better than those designs, because I kind of looking back at them I don't like them as much. But I might build some sort of like just circular gazebo type build that I can look out over the pond into the swamp and just have a really nice view of the landscaping we've done, because this is some of like my favorite landscaping I've ever done, so I really want to see it. And it might be a really good excuse to put some like alligator gar, and someone actually mentioned Henotis maybe, and there was another one, but I'll think of it later, like Tiktaalik, Henotis, and then alligator gar, some stuff in here to give this a little bit of life, but we'll have to come back to that because I now should probably lock in on the actual focus of this video, which is the Spinosaurus. So first thing I'm going to do is probably start this, like reinforcing this walkway and kind of giving us that like extra protection from the Spinosaurus. That little bit of progress has been made and it does look a lot better now. So the walkway is kind of coming along and I kind of want to work from this side of the enclosure towards that side because this is the side that's going to have the water feature. And I'm kind of figuring out how I want to do it. My main like thought process is that we might take this walkway and follow the natural curve of this river because this is a very shallow section and the river's like very wide here. So it might like solve my problem of like this river being too wide by just kind of cutting it with the pathway and then saying this is more like marshland but like deeper obviously. So my thinking is that we'll do that later when I've got a more clear picture of what I want to do, but what I'm going to focus on is I'm going to first make the chain link fence from this pillar to about that point on the rock wall, and so that way this way is kind of decorative swamp. But yeah, I'll put this in and then I'm going to start outlining with grass kind of the changes in elevation and some of the terrain stuff I want to do in here, and then when I bring you guys back we'll start working on the podzol and the ground texture stuff. Alright, I think that's good. I think I'm pretty happy with some of the elevation changes and a bunch of the dips that I added in. I added in this dip here that will probably end up being more muddy, and then as we get like higher into these areas, I might make it a little bit drier. I wanted this one to feel a little bit more open and less dense, I guess. But overall, pretty happy with it, and I think now I'm ready to do the groundwork. But I think that if I just replace this all with podzol, it would take way too long. So I'm going to go through and do more of the spruce trees where I just kind of place 4 down and then bone meal them to get, let me do it right. There we go. Get a spruce tree and that kind of replaces a big chunk. The only problem is I have to actually cut the spruce trees down, which takes some time, but I think it's going to be a lot faster than me going over to the taiga to get more podzol and then coming back and then replacing like a bunch and then going back. So I think I'm going to just finish off filling out this whole thing with the big spruce trees, trying to get majority of it as podzol, and then we can come back through with just our handheld podzol and replace the patches of grass that we miss. Alright, now that the ground is podzol, this is looking a lot more like an actual enclosure. I think I just need to work on the blending and stuff to actually get the groundwork done, and then we'll start working on vegetation. But I'm actually currently working on the rock wall. I kind of want this to be the framing of the like water feature we're gonna have, so I'm gonna keep working on placing down just stone for now, and we'll kind of bring it out to where those 2 trees that I'm looking at are, and then I think we can probably connect up our walkway out around like that and then bring them together at that point, and then we'll have to start working on this water feature, the groundwork, the vegetation, and then I think we'll probably be able to get our Spinosaurs in. Alright, I've decided that I kind of want to add in a little bit of a rock arch. I know it might not make the most sense for where this is, but I just think it might add a little bit of interest, especially because this rock wall is very flat, like it's just in one diagonal line. So I think having some kind of like land arch might be really cool, and it might be a good opportunity for us to like put a pathway on top of to kind of give you another view of the Spinosaurs once we get the pathways worked around up top. But yeah, so I'm going to keep trying to shape it out. Hopefully I can manage to make it look somewhat natural. Okay, I feel like every time I bring you guys back, I add something new to the project. I finished up shaping out the rocks, and I think it's in a decent enough position to where once I go back over with tuff and slabs and stairs, that'll kind of help cement this as a better like looking feature. And I've started making the pathways kind of go out. And when I was doing that, I was thinking to myself, well, that's going to be a long pathway to just have it be over water. So I think I'm going to break it up by adding another little section of land, similar like podzol and mud style. And that way it'll kind of break it up just a little bit. So that way when the pathways actually connect up, it makes more sense, I guess, in my head. So yeah, I'm going to work on kind of doing that and finishing up this pathway. And then I'll figure out where we go from there. Alright, this is the last section of fence that I have to do, And I think this will just about do it. There we go. Okay. Now, I have gone ahead and done the rest of this fence just because it's similar to what we've already done, so I didn't feel bad not showing it. But yeah, so we've got the chain link right there, and it's kind of brought us closer into this like pathway. And I've done the little island. It's just a little bit of a break and a little bit of an elevation change to give a little bit of vertical interest into our features. And then below the water, I've actually done these kind of like more, I guess, sturdy looking like barriers. They're basically just the andesite bars that we have as railing, but I did them below to kind of give it some support. I did some walls to just make it look reinforced that the Spinos can't like ram into it underwater or anything. But yeah, and that also saved me on using this industrial iron fence, which was very, very nice. I've also done a lot of the terraforming underground. You can kind of see, or underwater, I mean, you can kind of see it's all dirt now. I've replaced all the sand, all the gravel. I've done a couple of rocks in this deeper section, which I think really adds to the whole like depth, I guess. Well, it'll give the Spinos a lot of room to like swim, maybe hide under here and stuff. It'll look really, really cool. But now I think I'm gonna go and do the grind of just going through my water bottle and just replacing every bit with mud to give this a much darker bottom to it. All right, the bottom of the water has been replaced, and I also decided to break up the rock wall with a chain link fence and another bank on that side. I just felt like it was really, really flat, very like one big thing over there, and I didn't much like it, so I was like, well, let's add another bank. I need to take care of the terraforming like out the back, but that will probably end up being a later me problem. What I now need to do is, I think, finish off the boundary, which is pretty much all we have left before we can get our Spinosaurs, and that just means I need to actually go back over the rock work with the tuff and the slabs, so that way I can actually make some of those one block high distances a little bit taller with the slabs so they can't get out. So I'm going to keep working on the rock work, and then I think I'll bring you guys back when I start cultivating the Spino eggs. I'm currently working on cultivating the Spinosaurs. We had one incident, but I've got 4 DNA that I'm just going to turn into eggs, and I've just kind of been in my starter house that we made about 20 episodes now. It's been almost a year, I think. And I've just been going over my to-do list. This is something I've been keeping for myself, but I figured I'd show it off to you guys. You can kind of see I've got some of the projects I wanted to get done that when I first made this done. I've got the hills, we've expanded the mountain, worked on the river, the harbor. We've done a lot of big stuff. There's a couple things in here that obviously I didn't put in here because I started this like around when I was like figuring out where I needed to go. But as you can see, I wanted to talk about like the future stuff that I have in mind. Obviously an aviary is going to happen, a lab needs to happen, the kind of herbaquarium house is another thing that I've like been thinking of. Amber mines, like I've got a bunch of big projects, but this one right here, the info center, is one that I think is going to happen sooner rather than later, because I just didn't it was originally my intention was it to be the visitor center kind of, but I also thought having an info center would be a really cool way to display some of the fossils, some of the collectibles and stuff we have in this world, but also a chance for you guys to be in the world. I recently unlocked channel members, so I think in that like info center it'll have like a wall essentially where if you become a channel member, I'll put your name on a sign so you'll forever be in this world, immortalized like that. So yeah, that's kind of something like a project I think we'll probably work on after the world download. It'll be one of the first things we start doing, which will just be this info center. I actually did a basalt farm. I need to check that off. But yeah, so I think that's probably one of the next big projects we get to work on, and I think it'll be really, really cool. So if you do want to become a channel member, I think the join button's down below the video. But again, I don't ever want you guys to like feel like you have to. I definitely don't need you to. I make enough money as it is. But if you ever consider it, it's definitely an option for you, and that's how you'll get access to the world download and stuff. So yeah, check that out. I'm gonna finish cultivating these Spinosaurs, and then I think all we really have left over in that enclosure is the vegetation. So I'm gonna head back over, probably turn it into a time lapse, and maybe do some live streams to just get it through there. And if I find any funny clips, I'll include them maybe. We're at 80%. We're at 80%. It's close. It's close. I'm gonna keep my steak ready. I'm so excited. I'm actually, wait. I don't know if oh, Wiggles! We've got Wiggles! Oh my goodness. It's gonna be that one first. It's gonna be that one. Come on, little guy. Come on. Come on. You got this. Oh my gosh! Oh my god, they are so cute. Oh! They're so cute. Look at those guys. That's so cute. Can I hand feed them? Let's see. Who do we have? We've got female. We've got female. We've got female. And we've got male. Okay, so we've got three ladies and one chap in this enclosure. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. That's so cute. They don't have their sails. I didn't know that they didn't have their sails when they were when they're babies. Oh my gosh. Okay. I looked away for 1 second. Oh. Oh, okay. That's not good. 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 Okay. That might have saved it. Did any of them get out? Yeah, they did. Do we think if I feed him, he will tame to me? No. And I can't feed him anymore. What if I... see? Oh! Oh! Poof, I'm being silly. Laser pointer. Come on. No, no, no. No, no, no. Right here. Right here. I need you to follow me. Come on. Come on, straight this way. There we go. Okay, he's in. We have just handled that masterfully. All right, I'm back, and hopefully you enjoyed some of those clips from the live stream and my face. So if you've not seen my face before, that's what I look like. But yeah, we got a ton of progress done. Most of the swamp, I think actually all of the swamp that's not enclosure space is now fully ground covered. Obviously trees and like bigger bushes need to be put in, but I'm happy enough with this to leave it for this episode. Just because the video is already really long, and it's meant to go out like a week ago, and it's also like meant to go out today, and I think I'm gonna run out of time, so it's gonna be a day late from what I said it was gonna be. So I need to get cracking on the actual Spinosaurus enclosure. But I've encountered a problem, and I don't want to test the problem real quick, but I'll just show you the chat. They're not tame to me, because technically they are apex predators. So they kind of just pick me up and kill me over and over again. And there's 4 of them in here, if you didn't catch from the clip. There are 4 of them, and yeah, again, all very deadly. So what I need is some scarab gems, and what I also need is some Dominican amber, because I believe they need the aquatic scarab to tame, and I have none of both. So I have gone ahead and made me a pickaxe that has Archaeology 3 and Fortune on it. Went ahead and just made this a like top tier pickaxe. It didn't take too long because of my villagers. But I'm gonna break down all this fossil block. I'm gonna place it down to pillar up, and then I'm gonna break it down, and hopefully we get so lucky, get 4 scarab gems, and then hopefully Dominican amber. If we don't get any of that, I think I can set up like a sifter setup, but I don't really know what the chances. I think I looked on the wiki, and it said that there's a 1% chance from like sifting dirt, so it might be really difficult to get all the things we need. But I just need enough to where I can work in the enclosure, because if I don't, then they're just gonna keep killing me, and I'm gonna get nothing done. So we're gonna break this down real quick and hopefully get some scarabs. That's all we really need. Okay, we only got 3, which is 1 short of what we need. So I will have to go mining to get more. But I'm going to quickly break down this amber ore, because hopefully if I'm right, we should be able to get some Dominican amber from this, hopefully. Maybe. There's a very small chance. If not, we'll have to figure something else out. And nothing. Okay, we did get mosquito and amber, but I don't think this is any... Okay, that's just the same. Alright. What we're gonna have to do is two things. I'm gonna go mining to get some... Hopefully, I'm just gonna use my pickaxe to get another scarab gem. And hopefully I'll find some amber as well, and we'll try that method. But I also could quickly craft up a sifter. I think it's really simple. Yeah, I'll craft up a couple sifters, and when I dug out this entire swamp biome, over here is just a ton of chests of materials and dirt and sand and gravel. I think I'm going to basically set up a sifter system that should sift a bunch of this, and hopefully we'll get lucky and get some Dominican amber. My sifter setup worked like a dream, and I got another scarab gem, so now we have what we need. And it's now time for the fun, not so fun part where I actually have to fight the Spinosaurs and win. So I'm going to put on my chest plate instead of my elytra. And I'm going to throw a bunch of my like other stuff just kind of in the shulker box. I'm going to take the apples and one of these. I'll throw this, and this. Food. I've got some golden apples because they do a lot of damage. So I'm gonna go for this one first because they're isolated. Oh, and I should probably have a Dinopedia so that way I know. Actually, no, they go down. I'm pretty sure I'll know, but I just have to get close enough to actually. I'm gonna eat the golden apple now. You know? Okay. Oh, ow. Okay. How are you supposed to kill this? Oh. Okay, wait. How are you meant to kill? It just picks me up. They just pick me up. I'm gonna eat the other one. Okay. I'm going in. Again. Ow. You know what? We're eating the enchanted one. We're eating the enchanted one. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, ow, 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 ow. Let me go, let me go, let me go. Oh. Okay, we got one. We got one. Oh. Sorry, okay. That was a lot, and I had to really lock in. Oh, oh, they're in the water. It's in the water, it's in the water. Okay, okay. Okay. Hold on. Hee-yah! Oh, ow. Eating the other one. Eating the other one. Okay. 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 Whew. Okay. This one's done. This one's done. Over here now. Oh, ow. Okay. Healing. Healing. We're healing. We're healing. We're healing. Oh my goodness. This is so stressful. Okay, down. There we go. Okay, that's 3. Oh! Ow! 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 No! Ow! 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 Okay, regenning, regenning. I can get cheeky shots on. Oh, ow. Okay, okay. I'm gonna loop around. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Ah. Going back in. Ah. Oh. Okay, last one. Oh my goodness, there we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, they are all tamed. They shouldn't want to kill me anymore. They look glorious. Oh my gosh, that was stressful for me. I don't know why. I mean, I have respawn on. It's fine. But, oh my goodness. Oh, okay. They've got plenty of food, and now that the sun is setting, I can finally get back to work on this enclosure. So we're gonna do another time lapse. I'm gonna finish off hopefully decorating this enclosure, and it's gonna be so good. It's gonna look so pretty, and the Spinosaurs are gonna be so magnificent. But oh my goodness, that was stressful. I think that just about does it. This enclosure looks really cool. I'm really happy with these willow trees I've done. I've kind of used cobwebs as like Spanish moss. It's a little less dense and a little more open air just because the Spinos are so big. I want them to have enough room to kind of walk around on land and also go for their swims. But all in all, I'm really happy with this enclosure. I think it looks really good. And I think that's all we're probably going to have time for today just because this is really it's a long episode already. This is one of my longest ones I've made, and it's getting longer by the second. But no, I'm just really happy with all the work. All of the Spinos look so good. The swamp is looking absolutely phenomenal. It just needs trees, but I'm completely out of time for today. This video's long. I've been spending a lot of time here. But yeah, it's almost time for the world download. There's just one more thing I need to take care of, and it's this. This is our park map, and I don't know the last time this was updated. It seems to have been updated after the Triceratops, so it has been a minute. So what I want to do is I want to quickly use the cartography table and clear or make room in my hotbar so I don't pick any of the maps up. I'm going to take these maps down one at a time without looking at them. I'm going to duplicate them, hopefully. There we go. I can duplicate them, and then I'm going to take one, and I'm going to lock it. And that's going to be, we're going to do that for all of them, and that way we'll have a recorded version of this old map, and then I'll go through and update this unlocked version of the map with the new stuff, and then we'll have a brand new map. So I'll go ahead, run through the park, and do that, and I'll bring you guys back when we have a finished map. Oh my goodness, this is really cool. You can really see all the work we've done over the past 20 episodes. This map is ginormous. I'm probably gonna actually remove the top two sections we just added and return it to its original shape, and then we'll put the full map in the info center I had plans for. But this, it's just so cool. This is like, oh my goodness, I could stare at this all day. It looks so good. You can see all the work we've been up to over the past couple episodes, over the past 20 episodes. It's so good. But with this done, I'm gonna head back over to the swamp to end out the video. All right, I think this video is just about wrapped up, and it's kind of it's almost hard to say goodbye. I've been working on this project for so long now. It feels like over a month I've been working out in the swamp, and it's still not done. Obviously, we need to add trees and do a little bit more work over here, but I'm pretty burnt out. If I'm completely honest, I'm pretty burnt out, and it looks really good so far. I will definitely be coming back working on the trees in this area, but so far these enclosures are some of my favorite in the park. I really like them. I love some of the trees we've done in them, and I will definitely get around to finishing off this area soon, probably within the next 20 episodes again. But yeah, this is the last episode before the world download, so if you're interested in getting the world download, it is available for tier 2 members to my channel through the Discord. So be on the lookout for that. And I'd like to take a moment to actually thank all the channel members I already have. Thank you guys so much. Your support means so much to me. And pay attention to the world download. If you get into it, I will probably hide you somewhere throughout the world, and there will be a build coming that'll showcase all of you in this actual world. So again, thank you all so much for just all the love over the past 20 episodes, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode and enjoy the world download. But be on the lookout for the world tour. That'll be like the big announcement for the download being out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya! I hope you all enjoyed that compilation of episodes 11 through 20 of my Minecraft Dinosaur series. This world has come a long way. A lot of work has been done, and we're getting so many cool builds made. But I want to take a really quick second to say a massive thank you to all of you for watching this video and watching all the other videos. The support on all of them has been truly amazing. You guys like literally inspire me to keep going, and I just want to say a big thank you. I also want to go ahead and thank my channel members, which hopefully are on screen now when I'm making this little segment. But thank you guys for supporting me and the channel. And also, I want to mention that you guys should join the community Discord, link in the description. And if you decide to become a channel member, you will have access to the world download for this world and also other teasers and stuff that I'll put in the Discord. But if you want to become a member and get the world download, join the Discord. There's some info there to help you get that all set up. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. See ya!